Easily. A lot of self-employment stuff. I had a lot of tax write-offs for stuff, a lot of work stuff, specifically since I started doing this. And it was like, it's huge, way more than it should have been. So I'm ticked off about that. But that being said, we do have a Casores collab, a Casores interview, which should be really fun. I am looking forward to that. I have all my questions written up. I did my research. Obviously, I've known Casores for a while, so a lot of these questions were pretty obvious. But there was a couple of things about him that I wasn't aware of that I think I would like to pick his brain about. And some things that everybody's aware of, but we don't know a lot about. For example, his time with Krusty is always something to learn from there as well. So anyway, hope everyone's doing well. We started stream very, very late today. I was running way behind in coaching sessions. They all ran way over. So I've been trying to catch up with all those. But yeah, hope everyone's doing well, doing okay. Scuffed podcast. This takes me back. Hey, we haven't even started yet. Listen. Hey, Aplox. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Talk about taxes right now. Oh, jeez. Maybe you needed to do my taxes. I had way too much. Coach! Thank you for the sub, mate. I appreciate it. Let's, I guess we get started here. So, I don't really have anything else to add here. Here's what I'll do. I've been kind of unhappy about like my background with how I do my interviews. So, what I will do is I'll do this, y'all. Let me change this up. Coaching, Overwatch, don't need that. Let's get this up. And then we'll do this. And then my head is way too big. So we'll move.
Your head is way too big.
Hilarious. We'll move myself here, shrink my abnormally large face down here. And then we'll do paint. Actually, I can close Overwatch now, I think. And then we'll do paint in the background. And then I'll go Casores collab or Casores interview, and then we'll make it really big and nice and red because that's a good color. I'm thinking probably 285, 295 is fine. No! 5 Casores interview. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that, guys. That's phenomenal. Can you guys see that easily? Make it blue, because why not? There you go. Ta-da! Hey! Hey, Arthur. I feel like rank becomes easier. Honestly, don't know, mate. Maybe. A bit bigger? No way. Oh, I'm getting my leg pulled. Okay. Let's get the call started. Looks awesome. Okay, maybe. Can I close the window when you leave? Because the trucks are like, you know, driving past or whatever. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna get started, and then we'll get rolling here. Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Great.
Appreciate you doing
I'm
this.
currently being harassed by a cat.
Oh
but
dear.
I'll make sure she is not a distraction.
No, that's fine. Trust me, I've everything that could possibly go wrong in stream. I had to stop, pause a coaching session for like 3 minutes because my cat was yowling. So that was everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong. So, well, for those of you who have been living in the Rock, Casores, will you mind introducing yourself for those?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm Casores. Some may know me, some may not. I currently coach the Toronto Defiant. I coached the Shock for the previous 3 years. And I was on Atlanta Reign before that. Talked to Spilo a bunch of times, so I consider him a friend, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I really appreciate you accepting me. I mean, obviously, I'm catching you right when the iron's hot. You know, I know how the preseason prep goes, and I'm sure things have been a little bit delayed as par for the course for Al, but I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff going on, so I appreciate you taking the time. I watched the Yiska interview, and there was a lot of really interesting stuff there, and I spoke about this with you in our messages, but I wanted to go make this more personal, and not necessarily just on like what Toronto does, although if there's anything new there, I'm sure we'd love to hear it. But I want to know more about like you and your past in coaching, what got you started, your time in Atlanta, Yab, 1 point, all that foolishness, because I think one thing that's not out there enough is biographies and some of the more interesting people in the community, but also just in terms of speaking coach to coach, I'm sure there's a lot of coaches out there that would be very fascinated about like what got you started, what motivated you, any interesting stories along the lines, and then any secrets from the coaching, from the Coach Krusty tree, you know, that you picked up along the way. So if that's cool with you, I guess we can just get started. I got my whole notebook pulled out here.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I'm scared.
yeah, trust me, I did my research. I knew a lot about you already, but I went extra deep. So okay, so I guess what got you into Overwatch coaching? I see that you started with 1 point with the likes of legends of like Scalar, Fat, Mirror, Brucin. I mean, I know all these guys. Scalar, Fat, Brucin especially were good friends. But before even that, what got you into Overwatch, and then what got you into coaching? I guess to start with.
Well, before Overwatch, I played a ton of League of Legends. I made it to Diamond 1, and I was playing on some like Dutch teams, right? And I wasn't like super good, but I was all right. I won a few lands. The chair I'm sitting on, I won at a LAN tournament I played. So, but it was all local. It was all fun. But that made me discover like I love competing, and I did that from like 14 to 16. Played a bunch of League, played a bunch of
That's wild.
Hearthstone, and then League had already been out for a while, so it's hard to break through. And honestly, I just wasn't good enough. And then when Overwatch came out, I didn't initially start as like, oh, I want to be a pro player or anything. I just started playing it. I started liking it, and before the Overwatch like anything started, there was like no ranked. There was just quick play. And like people would scout, and I'm not kidding you, people would scout off of clicking people's profile and looking at like their damage per 10, their deaths per 10, So I was just playing a random quick play game, and like this, I don't even know what players anymore, but they were all like once rank came out, they were all like pretty good. They were like, well, in season 1 it was still numbers. They were all like rank 80 or something,
Yeah.
But they were pretty good. And then I was initially a main tank, and I just started playing main tank, and we started playing like the Gosu Gamer weeklies and stuff, and we weren't like super good. We got like top 8 or something a few times. But that basically like got me like, oh, I like competing. I like playing tournaments. And then I joined another team, and they already had a main tank, and I discovered it was Mercy meta. Res was super broken. You could res like the whole team in one go. So I started maining Mercy. And then, we go from 1 point to another. And then eventually I kept playing main support, and I just kept having fun. I kept grinding, And I told my parents, like, give me 1 year and I think I can make it pro. Because I was,
Oh boy.
I was like, what, in season 2? I was like 4.3K, which back then was really high.
Right.
Was top 50 or something. So I said, give me a year and I'll try and make it pro. And if I don't make it, I'll go back to school. This was
now, how old were you at the time?
This was 2017. I think I was 19. Long story boring. Basically, I failed miserably. I never did anything good, and just like played like tier 3 tournaments for like a long time.
Oh no.
And then this was even before like contenders or anything. But I basically made that gamble. It didn't pan out, and I went back to school. And then while I was in school, I just kept playing Overwatch. Right? I kept playing. I kept having fun, and eventually, I made my own team called That's a Disband. And like scouted players for that, had some friends on that, and met some great players for that, and eventually we made contenders. So I
was on
really
that team? Any
happy.
names?
It was Trispear,
Nice.
me, Mouse, if you know him.
Yeah.
Gelly, and then I think the other 2 have quit. But yeah, it wasn't like bad. Oh, Berglund was on there. But yeah, like some OG, like pretty high ranked players, and we made a team, and eventually we made it in contenders.
That's awesome. Now you were playing at the time, though.
Yeah, I was playing.
Okay.
I was still playing at the time.
Was it still main support?
Yeah, I was still main support, and we didn't do that good. We were like 6th to 8th place or something. Back when contenders were still really good. You had the likes of Giganti, United. All those teams. So there was still sponsors, there's still money. There was no like Overwatch League yet that was gonna come out, So all the talent was still just in tier 2. It was really strong. But yeah, we got 6th to 8th place. And then, as I like kept playing, I just started realizing like, I can maybe be good enough, but I'm never gonna make Overwatch League this way, because it got
Right.
announced. So I can keep playing for fun, and that's great. But then eventually, because I'd been leading like my teams and I'd been like almost in-game coaching because I'd been calling a lot for main support.
Right.
My mechanics weren't amazing, but I like to say I called for like I carried through calling. But that can only take you so far. And then yeah, I got contacted by One Point who had basically already had this team. They didn't have a coach before,
Mm-hmm.
and they were looking for a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd been talking to Mira for a little bit, who
Mm-hmm.
was still the main player on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was before, like, this was as Owl started, like season 1 Owl.
Yep.
And yeah, it had players like Mir, Brusen. I think we still had Scalar and Fat at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that seemed like something I wanted to try to get into coaching. So they asked me to coach for them, and I was still learning a lot. I think starting out then, this was 2018, or yes, 2018. Starting out then, it was more like a group of friends where I was just doing like casual VOD reviews, and it was all
Right.
like really casual.
Right.
But through that, I learned that I really like coaching. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I like just working with players and seeing them improve as things go on, and seeing some of the concepts that I have in my head like play out as like a chessboard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I really like that. And then from there, we played, I'd say, just one season of Contenders. And at that point, like, all the Overwatch League teams, like the expansion teams,
Right.
started like scouting, because first season of Overwatch League, you had 14 teams, and now is the second season of Overwatch League, so you're getting 20 teams. So these teams start coming in new, and actually Aero, who had
Mm-hmm.
been on the Dallas Fuel at this point, what he had done is he made a Discord for like all Contenders coaching. So he made a big ass Discord. He put like some guides in there and some pointers, and he wrote up a few pieces of like how to be a macro coach, how to be an analyst, how to be a head coach.
Right.
And he just had like very broad, like, this is what you're supposed to do, like kind of a Discord to like teach
Sure.
coaches that are in tier 2 that are looking, to go up.
Sure.
And through that, he basically gave each of these expansion teams a list of like all the coaches he had, and all the coaches that were in tier 2. And what Atlanta did at this point is they were trialing coaches, right? They already had Sephi and Silence, who came from LNL,
Yep.
who started this team out, and they started this big coaching trial, which is similar to the one I've hosted this year, which
Right.
we can get into later. But
Sure.
yeah, through that, there was 40 people in this trial, and we had
It's a lot of
like 3
coaches.
days.
It's a lot
Like
of
3
coaches.
days. Yeah. Everybody that was in Contenders at that point, basically trialed for this, and then some like other people as well. But we had the 40 people, and we had 3 days to complete an assignment. And if people aren't sure, usually how coaching tryouts will go is for the first phase, you'll get like a VOD, right? You'll get a VOD of either a whole scrim block or a couple of maps, like handpicked by the person holding the tryout.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll either want you to write an analysis piece, or in this case, what Atlanta wanted is they wanted somebody who's really good at individual coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd just come off being a player. I'd had one season of Contenders under my belt, and they wanted somebody like who has the vision of from being a player. So this was like perfect for me. I just like learned a little bit of coaching on One Point, learned how to talk to players, learned how to establish myself almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then this trial comes around. So for that 3 days, I think I slept like a total of 6 hours. Like I
Oh,
hard grinded
jeez.
it. I made Excel sheets. I made a video. I made an entire Word document of like the problems we're facing, how I'd approach them, and how I think I would coach each player individually based on how they communicate and based on their personality. They really liked it, so I made it to the next phase, and then through the interview, out of all those 40 coaches, uh, a little bit of luck, a little bit of timing, a little bit of hard work, I made it on Atlanta for my first season.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, from there we got sixth place that season. It was well, we can go into like each season later, but
Yeah,
just
sure.
the quick overview. From there we made it to sixth place. It was tough since we were a full Western coaching staff on a mixed team. Um, you know,
Who were the
looking
mixed
back,
players on that
that's
team? I can't even remember. This
uh,
was season 2,
so
correct?
this was
Hmm.
season 2. We had Erster, Daco, and Pokpo,
Ah,
right? And
yes.
they had just come off their Lucky Future. Um, like I think Erster came off Lucky Future, and then Daco and Pokpo came from Element Mystic.
Hmm.
And yeah, we picked those players up, and then we had Dogman. Initially, we had the Fran, but later it was Baby Bay. We had Enlayer,
Hmm.
and then we had Gator still on the team, and then we had Masa.
Hmm. In sixth
So
place.
yeah,
Not too bad.
we ended up getting sixth place. And then after that season, the team decided we want a Korean coach because we have a mixed roster, but we don't have any Korean players.
Hmm.
And I was basically the third coach. So I was let go that season. That's also when I started picking up Korean learning as a little bit of a venge story. I don't want to be fired like that again. What the hell is this about?
Yeah.
I'm just going to learn Korean. I've been doing that for 3 years now. I'd say I'm conversational. I had a lot of use in that last year. But
Do you think it's
yeah,
going
and
to get
then
rusty this season?
no, I'm still taking lessons every week.
Okay.
As long as
There you
you
go.
keep speaking it, right? And when I'm
True.
booking scrims with a lot of Korean coaches, I'm just talking in Korean, like
That's
that kind
good.
of stuff. It
Yeah.
it keeps you it keeps you a little bit, pressured, and also, I have a workbook. I work like 30 minutes a day in.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Makes
I
sense.
used to do Duolingo, but I don't do Duolingo anymore. It doesn't help that much, is what I found.
Yeah, I did Duolingo over a little bit, and it was like very initially helpful, but then it gets old really quick.
Mm. But yeah, after Atlanta is basically where I went through like a rougher patch, because I'd been let go like quite late in the off season, so I didn't end up finding a team.
Hmm.
Uh, and then
Was
I
this World
basically went,
Cup, right?
yeah, that's the World Cup came after this, right? It
Okay.
came right after Atlanta,
Okay.
so there was like a month between the end of the season, in season 2, and then we had World Cup.
Hmm.
And then we've actually been scrimming a lot for World Cup because we only had contenders players. Like Team Netherlands, we didn't have a single OWL player. So if your team had a lot of OWL players, they wouldn't be able to scrim, obviously, because of the OWL team obligations. But because we only had contenders players, basically World Cup was way bigger than contenders. It's way
Hmm.
bigger. So I
Hmm.
had them scrim like once or twice a day next to their contender scrims. So we
Oof.
we had scrimmed a lot. And in scrims, we would beat France and we'd beat UK like consistently. We were very good. Because we kept just grinding, and it was a team based meta. It was Lucia Moira meta.
Hmm.
Those kind of metas are always like so team based. It's still individual skill, but I'd say it's less individual skill than, let's say, a double sniper meta.
Right.
So
Right.
it's all about team play, all about ult usage, very coachable. I just come off like playing the playoffs. I was able to give them a lot of pointers, and we ended up, doing really well at BlizzCon. We had, we came through the qualifier. We went into the group stage. In the qualifier, I think the most notable team we beat is probably Saudi Arabia, who at that time wasn't as good as they are now, but they were still quite good.
Hmm.
They had Surmayed, they had KSA, like
Right. Right. Of
still pretty
course.
pretty good players. They were good players back then. And then after that became the group stage, and we were in a group with, I want to say, Team Russia, Denmark, Finland, and one big team, Team China. And it was a 5-man group, and we ended up losing to China. We ended up winning against Finland. I think there was also Denmark. We ended up losing to Denmark in like a really close series. And then it basically came down to, we had 2 wins and 2 losses, and we ended up playing the last match against Team Russia, who also had 2 wins and 2 losses.
Oof.
So it was very neck and neck. And we ended up going into that game. I told the players, we are in these like booths, and
Right.
there's just 6 tables, and there's literally a curtain. and then there's another 6 tables with the next team, and there's a curve, and there's another 6 tables with the next team. So I told my players, whenever you guys get a kill, you're gonna scream as loud as you can. Whenever you use an ult, you're gonna scream as loud as you can. This is mental warfare now. And we ended up like the whole room ended up complaining about us because we were so loud whenever we'd win a team fight. You know, when players like are winning and they like start screaming the names louder, or like the next fight they're like, I'm gonna use this ult, and then they use that ult and they start screaming louder when they're like killing somebody.
That's
like
great.
that's like
That's
how
great.
that went, and then we ended up 2-0ing that series and making it to the stage top 6
Right.
again, and then we ended up falling in a pretty close match to Team France. So that was it was great because Team Netherlands was basically like a Cinderella story. We had 0 OWL players, and we ended up beating all these teams that had OWL players.
Right. It was Trisphere. Was it like A10, Don? I forget the main support as well. I knew the main support.
We had Crusade, Trisphere as our
That's it.
support line.
Trisphere, yeah.
And then we had Don, Brusen, and we had Jonah, Facility.
Yeah,
and then
Facility.
A10 would also come in for maps.
That's right. That's crazy. That's such a stacked roster on hindsight, but like you said at the time, no Overwatch League players, not a single one.
Yeah. Brusen actually got picked up based on that World Cup.
Yeah.
And then, later on, Don got picked up. But Brusen got picked up just based on his performance at the World Cup because the Sigma was very, very good.
Yeah, that was just the end of Goats meta, right? The Reaper Sig, Doomfist foolishness.
Yeah, we'd play Orisa, Sigma, Lucio, Moira, because the shields were too OP, so you had to pick a comp that just went through the shield. So Doomfist was really good at that. So you'd basically play a comp around the Doomfist.
Makes sense.
But yeah, after that, I was let go of Atlanta. This was basically after most teams were already formed because in season 2 and 3, it was still very contested. Everybody made pickups like right away, because otherwise the best players would be gone, especially like all the contenders' talent that was still there.
Yep.
So everything got snagged up very fast, and I ended up falling like a little bit behind the wheel. And from there, I basically went back to contenders. I vowed to learn Korean.
And this was your time with Yab at this point, correct?
Yeah. So Yab, I wanted to do next to like streaming. So I started streaming almost full time, like 4 to 6 hours a day, almost like you're doing, right? And I started helping Yab out because I had a lot of friends there. Don was playing there, Jonah was playing there. I was doing that on the side. They really wanted me to help out as a coach. So in the start, I wasn't like too focused on Yab. I was mostly focusing on streaming and reviews and still getting the knowledge up and making content. But like as I got more and more involved in Yab, I started focusing more and more on contenders again. And toward the end of that contender season, I think we got 4th place or so. We didn't end up doing like as good as I think we could have.
Yep. A lot of it was like I remember because I was coaching Sheer Cold at the time, and it was like it was us, you guys, Obey, and British Hurricane, and then occasionally Avoided would stick their ugly nose in. But it was a pretty. I think it was like the last really truly super hyper competitive European contenders. I think there was a lot of great players at that point in time, and I think since EU's kind of taken a dip, but I have a lot of fond memories of those times coaching and playing up against you guys.
Yeah, no, those are very obviously British Hurricane was the best, but there were metas where we would contend against them. One contender season, I think we got second in like a 3-2 finals against them, where we should have taken it, So it was close. Like we'd rotate those 4 teams, and British Hurricane would always be the best team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have some good memories still about that. And then at the end of that season, I had a talk with Chris, the manager of Shock, and he said, we need some help for the playoffs. We want to bring in somebody who can be an analyst for us, go through these VODs, point out enemy mistakes, point out tendencies. And I just done all these reviews on Twitch, and he'd seen those. He'd seen me like grind out these VODs, grind out all this work. While not getting that much in return. So he felt like I was a really good candidate for that. And I did that for a month. We ended up winning the whole thing.
How
Um,
did that feel? Were you there with the team? I don't remember.
no, because they went to Korea, and in Korea you had a two week like quarantine, two
Right.
week quarantine
Right.
where they had like a PC, but it wasn't that good of a PC. So they actually said like it's better if you're at home with a setup where you can
Right.
record, you can do all this stuff, rather than being in a small tight room where you're just quarantined because
Right.
COVID had just started around this time.
Yeah.
So it was actually, I'd say, a benefit
Yeah.
that I was VOD viewing and able to work from home,
Hmm.
because I was able to work the hours where, they were sleeping, and
Right.
they
Right.
were. So I had like everything prepped in the morning for them. This is what I want you to review. These are the clips.
Hmm.
This is what the enemy team's doing better than us. And we ended up learning that Roadhog comp because we weren't playing that before. In like 2 weeks time, I'd say, and we ended up becoming the best at it.
That's
Also
awesome.
because you know the Roadhog comp was very very strong, but also because we had some really good sniper players. Obviously, Onsen Striker,
Right.
and Moff on Mercy, Mercy being his best character. It ended up being a good meta in a meta where Shock was pretty meta resilient. One thing I remember very fondly is that every team at some point started playing the Ana variation of that comp because the Ana is very good against the Roadhog who's just waddling about.
Yep.
You can nade him, you can sleep him. But I kept saying, our strength really is that ball tracer Zen comp that we
Hmm.
would play on control every time, where the ball tracer would go on point.
Hmm.
And we'd play the ball hog, right? Because hog was still broken.
Yeah.
And we would play the Zen with it, and we would, continuously keep beating all the teams that were playing Ana until like 2 days, 2 days before the actual like playoffs started,
Yep.
like in Korea, and we started losing scrims against the Ana comp, and our players started having doubts. Is
Hmm.
the Ana comp better? Should we swap to the Ana comp? We started putting Twilight in on maps, rather than Violet because of the Ana comp, Um, and eventually we decided to stick with our guts because of a few arguments we had, but we should play to our strengths, stick to our guts. Violet is a carry Zen. This is a good meta for him. And I think that really ended up paying off. Well, obviously it did, rather than, making the full swap to the Ana comp.
Right.
But we hadn't lost a scrim in the 2 weeks that we were there until like 2 days before.
Oh,
And
that's
then we lost
brutal.
the scrim block to Philly, and we lost the scrim block to Shanghai because we didn't have that many teams to scrim, right?
Right.
So that like put some doubts in us. But we the coaches just and Krusty just kept saying like we're a match day team. Don't get dissuaded by this. We'll play on this, and this map, but the rest we're sticking with our guts.
Right.
And we ended up dropping every single escort map and every single 2CP map, but we won every hybrid and every Koff map.
There's your
And since
irony.
Koff was always the tiebreaker, we ended up winning the whole thing, just winning Koff and hybrid.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd say it's mostly off the back of that ball tracer cup we were playing.
That's wild. That's wild. It's always tricky finding that balance, knowing when it's good to kind of like let up and lean into player confidence, but then also, like you said, it's like you got to stick to your guns sometimes too. Like that must have been really really spooky. But you win your championship. How did that feel for you? I mean, that's crazy. You're coaching contenders, and then all of a sudden you're winning the Overwatch League.
Yeah, it is wild. It was pretty surreal. Also because I know I like contributed a lot in the end.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as like being a full season with a team.
Right. Of
But I was
course.
very happy. That was basically my restart into everything.
Right.
And then because I did good work with the Shock, and I liked them and they liked me. I was brought on for as a coach for the last 2 years.
Hmm.
Um, and our first year wasn't as good as people expected it to be.
Right.
We ended up getting fourth place
Yep.
in the very end, but I'd say it was a rocky season. We never made, Hawaii.
Yep.
Um, we had some troubles adjusting to metas. We
Yep.
had the, famous like putting Violet on Lucio, that kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. FD
Um,
God, Tayo. There's even some controversy about like how good of a player is Nero, obviously, and then Glister ends up getting letting go. Super ends up retiring. Kind of a weird season in terms of like player controversy and discussion.
Yeah, well, Super was still with us for that whole
Right.
season. He didn't, but yeah, Striker ended up retiring in the middle of that season.
Oh, I forgot about
Um,
that.
right, yeah.
Ouch.
So it was a tough season, but I'd say we did the best we could. And we ended up getting fourth, which is definitely not bad for any team that's not the Shock. But when you're on the Shock, people expect you to get first, so then fourth feels like a disappointment.
Right.
Um,
Right.
which I think on every team that I'll be on, fourth or sixth or whatever place will feel like a disappointment. But sixth place on Atlanta felt better than fourth place on Shock that year,
Yep. Yep. 100%.
because yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
just about the expectations you have, but I'd say we did the best with the things we could. And then, obviously last season went by very quick. I'd say the longer I've been in the Overwatch League, the quicker the seasons go, almost. Maybe this season will be different because it's my first season as a head coach. But I'd say, this season went by very, very quick. Obviously, it started a little bit late, but it didn't end that long ago. It ended in
No.
November,
No, no. Well, last
now
season was a weird
February.
one. Was an odd one in terms of like the roster because obviously sticking with the mixed guns, but obviously not having a main tank until late in the season. Kaluj pulling the monkey duties and obviously pulling them really, really well. Violet on main support. I'm looking at my notes here. How what was this season like with obviously proper? Everyone's talking about proper, but I think your team play as a whole gets slept on. As somebody who scrimmed against you guys and studied a lot of your VODs, you guys were playing at a high level regardless of the position. What kind of a role did you have in making that happen? I guess coaching Kaluj Monkey, being essentially meta proof in a situation where, they don't have a main support, they're going to be bad in Monkey Lucio metas, but you guys were not bad in Monkey Lucio metas. So how did you manage to pull that one off?
Oh, we were actually very bad at that first stage, I'd say.
Uh huh.
We ended up pulling it together later toward the end, playing a very different playstyle than a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
But we obviously intended Super to be on the team. And then he ended up retiring just not like a long, long time before the season started, but also not like
Right.
too short.
Yeah.
But there was basically no main tanks left to sign,
Right.
right? So, and we didn't have a main tank or a tank in general, because we intended Super to be our solo tank that
Mm-hmm.
year because he is so flexible, right? He played Hog before, he'd even played Diva before, he
Mm.
played off tank in contenders. So we thought he was the perfect tank for Overwatch 2.
Yep.
Um, so we intended to go solo tank, and then that fell through, right? So we already had an eye on Kaluj, right? In case we needed an off tank. But as soon as that happened, we were like, okay, we have to sign somebody now. Kaluj is looking amazing. He might not be as flexible as we want, but we think he has the potential,
Right.
right? And then we start out in scrims. It was still a Zarya meta, right, at
Mm-hmm.
the time. So we start out with an off tank meta, then it went to like a Diva meta, and then just before stage one started, it became a Winston meta, right? Like how hectic it is, but
Yes.
um, so it became a Winston meta, and Collusion never played Winston before.
Right.
And we were there. Do we have to sign somebody now? Who are we gonna sign? There's nobody, right?
Right.
Um, there was obviously Mikey, who we ended up signing later. But we felt that with the experienced like team we've got, we can teach Kaluj how to play, but we won't teach him in the way of like he has to lead the team. We
Yep.
we taught him Winston in the way where you play Winston like an off tank. We have carry players. We have proper. Let's let Kilo and proper do their thing, and let's play for them, right? So he was almost the only Winston in the league who played a counter dive Winston style, and
Yep.
we would just bubble their nades because their Ana kept speeding on us. We would
Yep.
just tell Kalush, all you have to do is bubble their nades, and we'll win, right?
Right.
And that's what he ended up doing. People made fun of him as the backline Winston, but everybody started copying our playstyle.
Yep.
Like 3 weeks in, everybody started copying our playstyle because we just like played that style really well without like having like a true Winston player,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then obviously later on in the season, he became way better at Winston, right? In the
Right.
playoffs, he did great.
Yep.
But at that time, we had him play Winston like a diva,
Mm-hmm.
and we just played to our strengths. We just played to our DPS. We played to our supports. And I think this is, the beautiful thing about Chuck coaching is we recognize the win condition and we know like what our players' tendencies are, so we can make a decision on how we should play. There's a lot of teams that were forcing like play styles where maybe that's not, how their player wants to play or how his instincts are.
Right.
And I personally believe that if like things get very close and it's match time, like you can teach a player to do anything in scrims. They can change their play style after like 2 months of you stomping it into them. But when it gets like map 5 in a mad series, people will revert to their instincts.
Mm-hmm.
And if their instincts is not that play style,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna choke,
Right.
right?
Well, they
So you have
autopilot at
to
that
play
point in
around.
time, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you want to play to what is comfortable and almost thoughtless for them, right?
right.
Makes
So
sense.
so that's what we ended up doing in stage 1. I think we got 4th,
Mm-hmm.
which is not an amazing result, but considering, we had just picked up an off tank and it was a main tank meta,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ended up doing too bad. And then
No.
stage 2 is like really when it started getting pulled together, it was a double flex support meta, amazing for us. We had, Finn and Violet, probably, along with Glads, we were probably the 2 best,
For sure.
double flex support lineup backlines in the league.
For sure.
Um, it was still like it was a flexible tank meta. You could play a lot of tanks. I'd say Doomfist was very, very strong then. Um, but you could play a lot of comps, as long as you had the double flexible backline, which London didn't agree with, but London was an anomaly. Um, you could flex your tank. You could play Monkey. You could play Doom. We played Diva at some points. No other team did, but we played Diva at some points.
Yep.
And
Guess we're
it
good at
was
it.
it
I
was
remember. I remember Eichenwald versus you guys. Collegiate work.
yeah. He basically just sat on your tank and he made sure your tank couldn't do anything. Right?
Yep.
That's all he did.
Yep.
But he was very good at like countering the enemy team's playstyle and screwing your plan.
Yep.
So we ended up getting second place in that. We should have won that stage. I think that was the stage where that was really our meta. If there was a lucky meta, that was our meta. Eventually in the finals, I think we made some questionable decisions on map picks and we choked some maps away. But there was a reason we won that winners finals against Glads, and they leveled up from there. But we almost leveled down, I feel like,
Yeah.
in the second matchup against them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a very good meta for us, obviously because we had the 2 strong flex supports, and we
Right.
had Proper and Finn, who I think are the best, well, indisputedly are the best Zen Tracer combo in the league.
Yeah.
So they would just take over lobbies. Finn plays a very flanky play style,
Mm-hmm.
which is perfect for that meta.
Right. Because your Zen was needed to play very aggressively.
Right. Yeah. You
Right.
you basically had your Zen Tracer play for space while
Mm-hmm.
you're on us at main and healed your tank.
Right.
With the other
Mm-hmm.
with the other DPS and then probably the main tank.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, we had like a really great meta for us there, and then it went to a Queen meta, which we didn't have a Lucio player, we didn't have a Brig player. Like, so how are we gonna do this? So I'd say if there's any like proof of coaching being really important in the Overwatch League, it's stage 3 shock. Because
Yep.
in scrims, we sucked ass. We were so bad in scrims. I had so many sit downs with Finn, because his Brig was really not good at this. So he never played the character. You can't blame the guy.
Right.
But he never played the character. We were really, really bad at the start. Kaluj had to learn Queen, which he ended up getting very good at. Props to him. And we had to learn Sojourn because we were also one of the teams that didn't play that much Sojourn in stage 2. So I'd say we started out very rough, but luckily, after stage 2, it was like a pretty long break between stage 2 and stage 3.
Right.
And after we saw, Queen coming out, we knew she was going to be meta. So we started scrimming relatively early. We just started doing 3 blocks a day. We did a lot of review because, it's a Lucio meta. We have to be a hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't that good at the start, but we ended up going 5-1 that stage because we had 5 easy matchups, and then we had Dallas Fuel, right, who were
Right.
undisputedly the best
Forgivable
Lucio team.
loss.
But yeah, I'd say in terms of like how we taught them, it's just every player has to have a role.
Right.
And every player, if they know their role and they know what to do in a mirror matchup and the ult rotation,
Mm-hmm.
any team can learn that.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest thing to coach in Overwatch is mirror matchups. I feel like that's where you can have the most impact. And then also Lucio metas are not as individual skill focused, it's more team focused. So I'd say stage 2 was just like GOATs, and all three of us, me, 9K, and Krusty, we had probably the most GOATs experience in the league, right?
Right.
Shock having won it twice, me being on Atlanta. Also, we did, I'd say, okay in GOATs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we had a lot of experience playing GOATs. So we just started coaching them on GOATs ult usage and coach rotations and,
Mm-hmm.
how we played GOATs before, what our call system was like. And we started adapting that to the 5v5 system, to the Queen system. And it ended up, working very well. I'd say we had chances to beat Dallas because they were the only team that was better than us. But we ended up dropping the ball in the end. Famously, the Hanbin clutch on Lijiang. I think if you win that Lijiang, the whole match goes differently.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Man's
but
a demon.
it was very obvious Proper was by far the best Genji in that meta.
Yep.
And Proper, besides also being mechanically really good, he when the team needs it, he can also call the team for rotations. And when you have that on your Genji, that helped a lot, because Genji was obviously the carry character. Our season basically went like, what is the carry character in this comp? Okay, let's put Proper in it and play around him. Right, so we didn't have him on Sojourn back then because Genji was the harder carry. Otherwise, we would have had him on Sojourn.
Mm-hmm.
But we felt like Genji plus the Queen Shout is the biggest carry in this meta. And yeah, and then stage 4 happened. The regular season doesn't really matter. I like to skip over it. We lost like 2 games. No, that was an interesting meta. It was like the Sombra Tracer Diva meta,
Yeah.
and we just were not good at that. I mean,
Yeah.
just being a mixed team, not having a strong Sombra player, it just
Summer's always a wild card.
this
Whenever she
it wasn't
appears, it's always
a
weird.
carry DPS meta.
Yeah.
Even though it was double flex support, it was a very divey double flex support, and both our flex supports are pretty greedy, so they end up
Right.
just getting over and over and over again.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So we didn't end up doing too good. We got better toward the end of it, and we started playing toward our style. We were actually like 2-0 down, playing like the mirror against Atlanta in the match against them, and then we just said, we're just not good at this comp. Let's just play something else. And we started playing Sigma in a Sombra Tracer, Diva meta.
Yeah.
And we ended up, reverse sweeping that match just because
That's
on the
wild.
Sig comp we're so like good on our character. So we'd play like just Babsen Sigma,
That's
Babsen
wild.
Sigma, and then Sojourn Tracer, and we just had Proper on Sojourn. We just give him the orb,
Yeah.
and
Have
we'd put
fun.
Striker on Tracer, and he would just live. And we ended up, reverse sweeping that match because of, I'd say, our mistakes, and also Atlanta was not very good at adapting.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't adapt to our comp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We ended up reverse sweeping it, and then after that we basically went into playoffs after not dropping a match anymore in that stage. Playoffs meta was obviously, I mean, it's very recent in everybody's memory, but it's just a hive mind. It's just
Yeah.
a hive mind comp. You have to
Yeah.
push and back together. It's a Winston comp, but because Kaluj played the Queen meta, he also got really good at the Winston in that comp. The reason we went with Mikey in the end for Winston is if you just let Dallas engage on you, they're gonna take like the perfect angles and they're gonna take the perfect fights.
Right.
So we needed to take the tempo to them. The only way to beat Dallas is like taking the fight to them and just outskilling them mechanically.
Mm-hmm.
Their support line plus tank like I think probably best in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But in that meta,
Right.
but I'd say their weak point was DPS players, and obviously we had Proper, the best DPS in the
Right.
league.
Right.
So we wanted to take the fight to them and just have him almost play that Edison playstyle, but just hit more headshots.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so
And that was something consistently when I was studying the finals is that Dallas's neutral was just so good, just so consistently. Like you
Yeah,
said, you have to introduce some form of chaos to kind of upset the balance.
right. And we had gone into that playoffs, I'd say almost divided on our play style. I think we played almost the APAC play style where we tried to play very slow.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we lost to Houston, we made a complete 180. I mean, I remember we lost scrims to like a lot of teams um, because we weren't on the same page. And
Mm-hmm.
then after Houston, we just sat down and we just showed the team examples of like, you're just not on the same page. What are we doing, guys? And then before every match and like every scrim and every warm up and every time we lost a team fight, all we'd say is just same page, guys. Even if it's bad plan, just same page. And we ended up having keywords for almost all our rotations in that meta, just to make it easier, because Kaluj
Right.
was the main, Mikey was the main tank, and the rest was Korean.
Mm-hmm.
So we just keep making calls like um, flip, path,
Right.
like we had like a lot of callouts on certain maps too, and set rotations on every first point, so we could like almost cross the language barrier, because it's not as easy for Proper to make plans in English,
Right.
or like
Right.
any Korean to make plans in English.
Right.
Um,
Right. But if it's simple, can remember it, they know what it means.
yeah, yeah. So we played simple Overwatch. We just started going in. We had everybody just go into the Winston bubble almost every single fight, wherever that Winston bubble was. And I'd say throughout the playoffs, we started playing more and more as a team. Famously, Lip had probably his best game in the playoffs against us. But through like really, really good team play, we ended up, even beating Shanghai that match. And ended up beating three out of four of the APAC teams and then knocking them into out of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we had, our rematch against Houston. We played way better as a team. We free out them this time, and then went into the finals. And I mean, everybody must have the finals like
Oh yeah.
pretty quick into their
Oh yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
But
Do
it
you think
was
that you played well in the finals, or do you think that that was a winnable game that just left it, just didn't quite perform up to snuff?
I think the Esperanza we played,
Yeah.
we threw it
Huh.
away. We
Yeah.
we threw that map away,
Yeah.
really hard. We were way ahead, and then there was just one fight where we blew four ultimates, and they just disengaged.
I
And
remember.
after that, we choked that really hard. Obviously Dallas Fuel being very good on push, but we get the advantage there. Once you get a big lead on push, you should never give it away. Um, and I'd say Root was one of our better maps in scrims, but we couldn't pull it together after like the second attack. Um, they just had like a stronghold defense, and we couldn't push them out. So I'd say, except for those two maps, we played a very, very good match. Even the last map, I think Dallas Fuel was just really, really good on Coliseo.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also good on New Queen Street. And the reason we didn't pick New Queen Street, we talked about this beforehand, but when we played New Queen Street against Dallas Fuel in the Queen meta, they had like, the most amazing disengages and the best ult usage. We could never beat them on it. On Coliseo, I feel like it's more about like who wins the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
So we felt like Proper can get more picks on that map rather than New Queen Street.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Proper also, after having played like a full day, having beat the Houston, having done like insanely in the first five maps, started losing focus, and he still played amazing in the last two maps, but they ended up just playing better as a team and having better like pushes and disengages and win in the last two maps. Where on the route, I don't think we played that good. And Esperanza we threw away. But I mean, to take Dallas to a map 7 in the meta that's almost built for them,
Yeah.
is nothing to sneeze at. Whereas we
No.
didn't even have a main support or a main tank for the whole season.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, they're the best of the best as well. And then, like you said, take away Esperanza, I think that map, that's a different series. It's 4-3, you guys. Or worst case scenario, you guys. Someone in chat says you guys would have gone to circuit. I think after that.
Yeah.
That,
So the problem also was every time uh, there was the hybrid maps, and then there was the escort maps after, like
Mm-hmm.
the first thing, and we were really good on both hybrid and escort. But since we kept winning the map before
Oh,
escort,
they get the
we
map
could
pick.
never take them to Circuit Royale, right? Because
Oh,
they kept getting the map pick for. There was two escorts in that, and we didn't get the map pick either time. So we just couldn't go to
oh,
Circus Royale.
oh.
Otherwise, we would have definitely taken there. And every team was terrified of our Circus Royale.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I
Um,
remember. I mean, I was looking at Kaluja's Sigma a few months ago, and it was like unbelievable. You guys, with timing wise, obviously the mechanics you guys have there, but I think even like the team play within that map was always very, very, very coordinated. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
No,
that
we knew exactly like what corner to peek at what time, where to take fights. We were very set on that map.
right. So I guess if we're going to continue the timeline before we ask a few other questions, you move on from Shock. Was that? I mean, this is something kind of encroaching a little bit of questions that you've answered with Yiska, but you move on from Shock, first head coaching opportunity. What do you hope to accomplish, I guess, this season? Because I mean, obviously, we would love to win the league. Well, duh. But like realistically, like what do you think you guys? What do you, as a coach, in your own personal development, want to get out of this season?
For my own personal development, I
Sure.
think I want to. I've learned like leadership a lot and how to people management on the past teams I've been at,
Mm-hmm.
but to have that autonomy and to make every decision,
Mm-hmm.
that is, a new level. I think I want to, develop myself as a leader, not just about my in-game knowledge,
Right.
and become like a figure that in 10 years when people are no longer playing esports, people can like look back at me and be like, he wasn't just a good coach, he was also a good person, and I really learned a lot from him in and out of game.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
so
And
I
what have
think a
you
lot of
learned?
that.
Go ahead.
Mhm.
Sorry.
I think a lot of that is people skills, but I think throughout these years, hopefully that I'm a head coach, I want to like keep developing in that.
Sure, sure, of course. And what of that have you learned from Krusty? Because as I said earlier, you are a graduate of the, for lack of a better term, the Krusty coaching tree, right? So, what are some of the biggest lessons, I guess, that you've learned from him or the way he handles things?
I can't give away all the secrets, obviously. That would not be ethical. But I think one of the biggest things I've learned is, um, like I said earlier, right? You have to manage people in your team, and you have to like look at their instincts and what kind of people there are and how to like coach each individual.
Hmm.
And I think that's something he does very well, coaching people based on their personalities and managing them and putting them on certain maps based on like their strengths,
Hmm.
and evaluating people and evaluating their strengths. I
Right.
think those are some of the biggest things I've learned from him throughout the 2.5 years that I've worked with him.
So almost looking at the personalities, not just the hero strengths.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That's definitely unique, and I think it makes a lot of sense. So I want to rewind just a little bit here because one last question, maybe not exactly related to Overwatch, but you got into fitness. I don't know when that was, or if that was something previous to Overwatch. When did your career in fitness, not career, I guess, but your interest in fitness kind of begin, and how has that kind of sustained you over the last few years in the video game world?
Like like any dumb 18-year-old, I went for a breakup. I thought my heart was broken at 18, so I was like, I have to find something to fill this void. So I started hitting the gym when I was 18 years old, and I was a twig. I was like, level. Well, maybe not that skinny, but I was really skinny, like twigs for arms.
Hmm.
Um, and throughout just 2 years of doing it for myself, and then started looking into like how could I apply this to my teams and how can I teach this to others in my personal fitness journey. I'd say I've been going to the gym, I mean, off and on. Sometimes I take a break, but
Hmm.
usually I go like 5 times a week, and I change my schedule up every time, and I make schedules for others. But I'd say the most notable thing in like I'd say fitness like career is that last year, it was pretty funny. Like people came in, and initially just Kaluj wanted to go to the gym,
Right.
and then I would go every day, and Kaluj would go with me sometimes, and eventually Proper started going, and he would go every day. And eventually, Kilo started going, and he would go every time. Mikey came in, and he would go, So I think, just leading by example and showing them and helping them out where you can. I think Proper was definitely the most dedicated in the gym, and eventually he started squatting 225, like more than me.
Nice. Nice. That's crazy. Good for him.
Yeah.
So what are you saying?
Yeah,
Proper squats and deadlifts.
No, I never had him deadlift.
Well,
I think
in game, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild. You're good. That's crazy. I mean, that's awesome. I think leading by the example there. So obviously we've talked about a lot of teams, and so this is going to be the broadest question of all of them. Are there any interesting stories, funny things that you learned, anything to share from your seasons going back to 1 point, ATL, Shock, World Cup, YAB, anything that you've just been dying to talk about or tell about or share from that very broad time period?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think, what I'd like to share with everyone is I think what's kept me all this time is like, even if I've had setbacks or things that didn't go my way, like with Atlanta, or like with my breakup when I was 18, I think putting your energy and wherever that energy may come from to like do things like I got kicked for a Korean coach, so I started learning Korean, very spiteful, but it ended up helping me later on. I think that is one thing that's kept me going all this time, and I think that's one thing that everybody can learn from a lot. Funny stories, that's a good question. God, I remember back in season 1 or season 2, sorry. Mm-hmm. We were in this big ass rain mansion, right? It was absolutely massive. It was fantastic. And we would go into the hot tub like a lot. Like we had a hot tub.
Yep.
It was almost somebody would be in there like every night just after scrims, just decompressing. And it got to the point where we had a fridge close to the hot tub, like
yep.
And we had a TV at the hot tub, and we would go in there ritually after our all matches. Like we'd be playing in the Burbank studios. We would drive home. We'd go in the hot tub. We'd put on our game and we start reviewing it in the hot tub. And we just talk it over with like almost the whole team would come out every time. And we just talk over the game and what we did wrong or what we did right. And we'd like make fun and like, have like a fun, good bonding experience from that. I think, that's really memorable, right?
Yeah,
like even losing, we didn't like hate each other. We'd go in the hot tub and we'd have an off day the next day, so we'd have a beer next to it or something.
So it's like a low pressure way
casually
of like
watch it, right? And then later on we do like actual reviews before our scrims or before our next matches on it. But it was like it was like a very good way to, I think, decompress and talk about the game at the same time.
I got one more question for you before we move on to maybe some of the more meta discussion here. Because somebody in my chat says, I think if there was a free-for-all fist fight for Overwatch coaches, Cass would be top 3. What do you think?
I think fist fights are more about your weight than I weigh.
That's true.
Well, pounds, I weigh 180 pounds.
That's true.
But I think there's probably some coaches that have me beaten at your height or weight.
Okay.
But I think I do pretty good.
Yeah.
I think if there was like a team fist fight, I think Toronto would win against a lot of other teams because we got me and Kaluj.
Yeah, true. And if Hydran's watching, definitely not Hydran.
He's working out now. I think he started last year.
Good for him.
Yeah. We're planning to go to a gym with a lot of our guys.
Good. That's sick. Okay, so this is a very open-ended kind of discussion that we had planned here for talking about past metas, future metas, and I wanted you to kind of not take charge, but whatever you wanted to talk about on your end, I'm down to talk about. Because it was a little bit of like, well, we could talk about previous metas or what you think of the patch notes, for example. Do you have any thoughts to share on this? Or how do you want to handle this?
I think one thing that could be fun is
Casores, like... one second. I just got raided by Poco. Poco! Thank you for the raid very much. I appreciate it. So, speaking of muscular bound freaks, it's Poco. So anyway, Poco, we're doing an interview with Coach Casores for the Toronto Defiant. Appreciate everyone being here. Probably should have muted myself, Casores. I apologize. But yeah, we're chatting about this, and we're actually going to be talking about meta/patch note stuff. So welcome. Okay.
I'm sorry, Spilo, I can't hear you anymore. Somebody just blew my ears out with a loud horn or something. I don't know what that
was. My bad. I was like, I should have muted my Discord. What am I doing? The worst part about it is, as well as I'll get into like an in game, you know, I'm fooling around with some like in group chat, and I forget like the Overwatch like the volume ceiling is like horrible, so you can like scream in a mic, it's like deafening. It doesn't like auto adjust the volume. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So what are you thinking we discuss here? I'm down for whatever.
I think what will be fun is, I mean, Toronto has been scrimming lately.
Yep.
So I can't go too in depth on
Sure.
what we're doing right now, but
Sure.
I think it's pretty fun to look at Ramatra and
Sure.
like theorize what he counters, what he's not good at.
Let's do it.
I personally think Ramatra is like the kind of character where
I'll stream on my Microsoft Paint here. There you go. I'll go ahead.
Perfect. I think Ramatra is fantastic in just Lucio metas. I think he is almost a semi-Doomfist, where in his Nemesis form, he's almost unkillable. But in his like normal form, he's terrible. Like he's just absolutely, he's so bad. He's like he's a pea shooter. Yeah. It doesn't do anything. So unless you're King Path close range, he does not seem very good. He's like a budget Sigma and budget Doomfist in one. Okay. You know, but his Nemesis form and his ult are really broken. So the reason you play him is because of his ult. And if you know anything about Lucio metas, very good when you can just keep farming ults. So I think in the future you'll see Ramatra almost exclusively with Lucio comp.
Right. Yeah, that's what baited me about the heroes, because I see this initial like trailer, and you never want to like immediately jump to conclusions until you've seen something. But I was like, oh, that gun looks pretty good, you know, his caster form or whatever it's called. But then like you said, in actual execution, like, oh, he's horrible. He's got no armor. His shield's on a massive cooldown. The projectile speed is like really, really funky. But man, like you said, when you pop the fists out, you know, it's like get amazed in the ring. You know, it's like oh my days. It's like this guy can hit hard, and so therefore you want to be able to close the distance. So here's a question for you, and maybe you can't answer this one as well. But like when it comes to ult design, I've been a big hater of the ult design. I think it's atrocious. What are your thoughts on the ult? It's obviously powerful, but what are your thoughts on the design itself?
Well, the problem with it is if you don't have a Lucio, you can't get in range of people. Right. So you innately need a Lucio with it, which I hate, like you needing a character just because you're playing a different character. I think they've gone a step in the right direction and not make it infinite. Yes. Obviously, but I still think it almost feels like a Hammond ult, but way, way better. It's like insane in overtime fights. It's the best ult in overtime fights because you have to touch the cart and his ult just goes forever. It goes 20 seconds down. Right. But if you can kite it, it's useless. Right.
That's a good point. It's like when you have an ultimate that is completely worthless in certain situations, it doesn't feel super good to use. But in other situations like a mirror, any sort of Lucio brawl composition, it's oppressively strong. And so it somehow like feels maybe underpowered in some circumstances, but then wildly overpowered in others. I think that's where we have to question a little bit about its design. Do you have any ideas off the top of your head of what you do to expand that, or is it just what we have to live with for now?
I'm not quite sure. Like the way the character is designed is around the Nemesis form, right?
Right.
And the ult enabling the Nemesis form is very, very strong.
That's true.
But I'd say one of the biggest issues with the ult is just that you can cancel like the Nemesis form, and then you get 200 armor again. And between the self-healing and the armor, it's really hard to kill him. And like Kiriko Suzu and whatever else he gets. So I'd say that's almost where the problem lies. Is that he gets that armor and then he gets the invulnerability, and there's no way to burst him through the ult. So he can just stand in your Kiriko ult and just not die because he can block while doing it. So he's blocking, taking like 60 or 70% less damage from that. And then he also has his armor and that stacks.
Right.
Like the blocking plus the armor stacks. I don't know who thought of that, but that needs to stop.
It's like the
right?
old Brig rally with like the armor like used to be bugged where it would be like stacking on top of each other. Do you remember that? Way back in like 2018, somebody like calculated it in workshop was like, hey, armor's bugged, and Blizzard's like, oh crap, it's reducing damage by too much. Yeah. So, but when you talk about the cancel, you're saying you go into Nemesis form, you get the armor from that, you cancel, and then you go into the Ramatra ult, and then you get the armor again from.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. So I've got a question in chat, which I think is really interesting. So we're talking about like Lucio comps, Brawl comps, right? The answer is like, why not play Reinhardt, right? Surely Reinhardt will beat that. Has that been tried before? What are your thoughts on the Rein versus Ram matchup?
Well, I think the problem there is that Ram just provides a way better ultimate than Reinhardt, right? Like the Brawl feels almost equal. Ram like has better spam. Like just you can play slow and make the Rein come to you, and then once he comes to you, then you just pop Nemesis for him, and you just hit through his shield. And now Rein's buffed, so I can't tell you what the meta is now.
Sure.
But like previously, when Ramatra was still infinite and Rein wasn't buffed, we've tried it. It wasn't even close. Like Ramatra could just almost run circles around the Rein and just punch through his shield, get Suzu'd, and because the rest of the team is also shooting Rein, it's not like you can just swing.
That's true.
And the problem with Ramatra is he can put a shield and shoot, but Rein can't swing and shield at the same time.
That's true.
So Ramatra can do two things at once, and Rein can only do one if you're just shooting him.
That's true.
So you just keep focusing the Reinhardt, and then Ramatra just gets more value if the enemy team focuses your Ramatra,
That's
and
true.
the Rein can't run through Ramatra, because then the Ramatra just runs at your team with Nemesis form and starts punching everyone.
Right.
So you can't ignore Ramatra because he does too much damage in Nemesis, and you can't match him because he gets armor with his Nemesis, and he can punch through your shield.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. And it's like you said, I could be doing damage while you're shielding, and then even just the caster form itself usually means that you can whittle down a little bit of HP, a little bit of shield before he even gets on top of you. You have the advantage there. Yeah. Right. Not something that a double fire strike doesn't quite compensate. Okay, so I guess this is more of a broad question here, maybe expanding beyond Reinhardt and Ramatra, I suppose. What are your thoughts on the balance approach as a whole? I mean, this has been a very hotly contested and very popular discussion point for a lot of people, and like how they're balancing the game has been the balance and response, and Sojourn Kiriko taking too long. Are good, fun heroes, honest heroes like Genji, Tracer, Winston, and Reinhardt too weak? Very, again, broad question, but do you have any hot takes or any thoughts or discussion points on any of those questions?
That's a good point. I think Overwatch almost is there's a problem because what works in like ranked and what works in competitive plays is wildly different, the dev team was showing stats of like Sojourn and Kiriko having extremely low win rates in ranked, while in competitive play, because of their mobility, they're still like so strong. So I don't think Overwatch should be balanced around a pro play. Like, maybe this is wildly contested, but I think Overwatch needs to live off its player base, right? Because Overwatch League is not going to get viewers if the game is not fun. That's why Overwatch wanted so little viewership, because the player base was so low. Overwatch 2 has a way bigger player base, so they need to not screw it up this time, right? They need to just, in my opinion, need to make a lot of changes, right? Like if it's 3 times a season or 4 or 5 times a season, and just like keep swapping it up. Like I'm playing TFT a little bit recently,
right?
And they just have a patch like every 2 weeks, and they just swap up the whole meta, and then the next build is OP, and then the next build is OP. So even if things are broken, I don't mind, as long as it's a fun character, as long as it's not like Symmetra's broken or Torva's broken. Don't keep them like somewhere in the gutter. But if Tracer or Genji's broken, and then Sojourn's broken, and then McCree's broken, I think that's good. But they need to just keep changing it. Don't be afraid to make a lot of changes, even if they're small. And just test things out, and almost make it like a PBE. And then when you know, when Overwatch League is playing, it's fine to have like one meta where Hammond is just completely broken. You know, like right
Sure.
now Hammond is the new shit. You know, he's
Yeah.
really broken, but I don't mind that. You know,
Yeah.
like Hammond's
It's
broken
different.
right now, but just nerf him next patch. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
like,
I think that's where a lot of the complaints come from because it's been Sojourn Kiriko in her mouth, and I've reviewed so much Kiriko and so much Sojourn, I'd never want to hear the words again. You know, and like you said, I think there's a lot of good points brought up about pro balance where it's like pros will find a way to be miserable about everything. And it's not necessarily even a personality problem. It's just that we have a tendency to solve everything. We find that eventually we'll figure it out and then it gets really dull. So I feel like you said, keeping it fresh, keeping it maybe even over the top changes, but keeping it fresh and different will prevent maybe people from solving it too quickly and avoid these, you know, smashing into each other's faces mirror matchups that just inevitably seem to kind of end up happening with meta. I think the one meta that really stood out to me with it, I think was at stage 2. I think I felt
I'd say mid-season madness had a very good meta.
Yeah, it just felt very diverse, but I also wonder how much of if it would have stayed that way for another 2 or 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the reason it was diverse is because of how the game modes work. You know, the problem is with Overwatch is if Lucio's broken, he'll just be played everywhere, right?
Mhm.
But if Lucio is not broken, you'll probably still need a Lucio on this and this and this map because Lucio is OP on push because you can't
Cough.
take as many fight without Lucio. Lucio is OP on cough because you
Yep.
don't get to the point first without Lucio. So I think what was really good in stage 2 is that the teams that were good at Lucio played Lucio where Lucio was good.
Yep.
And double flex support was maybe broken, but some maps you had to play Lucio.
Yep.
So there was Glads who would play Lucio on a Doom on like every push and every cough almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be like really good, right? Because it was good on those maps. Some of the problems come from like these characters are OP, but the comp doesn't care about the map, right? Like
Right.
if you're playing Lucio, Kiriko, Winston, you're playing it because Kiriko's broken and because these are the best characters that Kiriko, you know, synergizes with.
Right.
And the problem with Overwatch for a little bit has been that these brawl comps just they have to have these certain characters. They have to have Lucio, they have to have Junker Queen, you know, in stage 3. And that just fills in the rest, right? Like you can't intrinsically play Junker Queen without Lucio if you're playing against any other comp. You know?
Right. Imagine D.Va back in Overwatch 1, right? So many metas you just had to pick D.Va because you had to have Matrix and Rotate, or you had to have Lucio's speed because you had to have Lucio's speed for Rotate or for movement or for push and for pull. And like you said, like anytime, like for example, like the previous meta, Sojourn's strong, Kiriko's strong, well, guess we have to play Lucio. And then eventually they find out what's the best tank that works with the hero. People are like, is Reaper OP? Well, no. He just happened to fit the composition the best, right? You could follow the chain. Do you remember back with stage 3, I was like putting like face palming at the change. Remember when they nerfed Inspire in the Junker Queen meta? And I was like, you guys don't know how to balance your game. That Brig is not OP. She just happened to complement. She just was a support that didn't get run over, right? And then,
she's just broken with the extra armor you get, with the
right,
extra health you get. Right?
Exactly. And then obviously Kiriko comes around, and then Brig is a complete worthless hero for ages. It's just like that's the kind of stuff, like you said, you have to find the source and or find ways to introduce more complementary heroes because we only have the one speed support. So whenever we have a comp that likes to close the distance, whether that's Ryan, Junker Queen, even Zarya, there isn't any other option. You have to play Lucio. And I think, like you said, that's probably an issue.
Right, and if Lucio is not meta, about 4 out of 8 tanks become just useless. Right?
Yeah, true. True. You can't play.
It's just how it is, right? Yeah. And I think sometimes it's teams just copying what other teams are doing, but sometimes it's just you can't play anything else, right? Like, I think, you know, London, probably the biggest like non-meta team this year. And they did very well with the Rhine comp, but there was also some points where you just couldn't beat people, right?
No, we couldn't.
Like Shakar playing Sojourn Genji, and they just nano boost Genji every fight. We can't win, you know? Like, well, there are limitations to what you can do, like 100%. Beating the meta.
100%, especially at that level. You know, I remember, we had that conversation where it was like, well, guys, we have to play Zenyatta on a Backbones on Zen, you know? It was like, we tried it, we can pull, we don't have to play it on every map, but we're gonna have to do it. There wasn't even an option at that point. And when London is putting their May player on Zenyatta, like it got wild. I thought we did pretty good too, but that's a separate story. But yeah, there's definitely some times where it's a must have. And obviously, like I said, you can still perform really well at it. Like the entirety of Shock's last season felt like that with Kaluj and Violet, and you guys finding ways to not only compete, but actually do really, really well on metas that you quote unquote shouldn't have excelled on. But yeah, I guess it comes back to coaching, right? That way I can pat your back and you can pat mine.
Yeah, all coaching, not individually good players. But
Yeah.
it has to be a mix of the two,
Yes.
You can't become a champion without good players, and
No.
you can't become a champion with just good players and no good coaching.
No.
It has to be a mix.
No, 100%. And here's a question for you, a little bit unrelated. I felt like a lot of coaching value sometimes can also be about getting the players to step up as well, especially in a game like Overwatch where there isn't a lot of sideline coaching, Because I don't know how you guys handled match day, but I mean, once we're in the match, and we're between maps, generally there's not a lot of crazy adjustments. It's just gonna be about the players like actually executing what we talked about. So I feel like finding players that are able to lead and communicate and be able to make those adjustments on their own is like such a crucial part. But I'm not sure what your thoughts are.
Coaching in any sport, and I mean even Overwatch, it's about enabling the players to feel like they can lead, or like finding the players that have these qualities and empowering them, right?
Right.
For example, just something very small, but something I did last year is Finn is a very outgoing person, and he makes a lot of jokes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave Finn the role to say 3-2-1 fighting and have the team join before every map starts, right?
Uh-huh.
And I feel like that's something that's like empowering a player who naturally, wants to make jokes and like talk before the match to like put some valuable input. And I would keep saying, like, if we make that 3-2-1 fighting strong, we're going good into the first fight. And if we win the first fight, we win the match.
Right.
Like stuff like that is I think it's just empowering your players, giving them, the role to lead, or giving them the role to have their job, because there's players that communicate more in match, and there's players that shut down more in match and start talking less, right? So with the players that start talking less, I just give them rules. You have to call this, you have to call that. You have to make plans around this ult. You have to make plans around that ult.
Right.
And that's how I make sure my players keep talking, because they have their role. And then the players that are more natural, that communicate more, I keep telling them, if you feel like you need to call something, just do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a lot like what you're saying with Krusty, with like utilizing the player personalities, like leaning into what already comes naturally to them. Makes sense. Well, Casores, is there any last thing that you would like to say? I would say any Twitch stream you'd like to plug, but I guess not. You got to plug your team. So, any last words here?
Yeah, I've not been streaming a whole lot this season. Making a team is a little bit more hectic than
just a
you
little
initially
bit.
might expect.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, we're about to go into the season. I'm really excited. I don't expect us to get first this season. I expect us to build a core for the next seasons, and that's what I want to do. I might have said this on Yiska's thing too, but I think if you've been like a middle of the pack team, funny meme, for your like whole career, like the top players don't just flock to you anymore. If you're Shock, everybody will play for you.
Right.
So what I want to do this year is make people respect Toronto again, make it a place where people want to go to.
Right.
And if I can create a system and a structure that works, the results will follow. I don't want to look at like I have to get this. I want to do better than Toronto's done before, and I want to make a structure that lasts.
Sure.
So I'll leave you all with that.
Sure.
I hope some Spylo viewers are inspired to now cheer for Toronto.
I'm sure.
And I appreciate being here. I appreciate talking to you, Spylo. I appreciate you giving me the time.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure we'll talk again.
No, absolutely. I mean, the pleasure's all mine, man. I obviously known each other for a little while, and always a pleasure to talk with you. And like I said, good luck with this season, and hopefully we'll see some good results.
I appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your stream.
Cheers. That was Casores, head coach for Toronto Defiant, good buddy of mine. obviously knows his crap and has not only knows his stuff, it has a huge past at a lot of really cool things. Very mixed background. I think one of the advantages of being a great coach, or one of the things that you should try and do as a coach, is have a mix and a lot of variety in your background. And Casores has just done just about everything you could possibly do as a coach. So good to see everybody. Welcome everybody. We have a bit of an exciting announcement here because I have a raffle giveaway for a free coaching session starting in just a few minutes. So here's what we're going to do here. How do I do this? Integrations. All right, somebody, is Varasha here? I don't remember how to do the Nightbot giveaway thing. Oh, never mind. I found it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. I'm going to go tinkles because I drank too much water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have anybody that types in !raffle. So I'll type it in chat just for you guys. You type that, you're going to be entered into the giveaway. So give me a second. I'm going to get the thing going here. Keyword. Don't do it just yet. Hang on. Keyword. Wait. Keyword is raffle. I think that's it. I think we're good, chat. I think we're good. So just type !raffle free coaching session. I think this is it. I think we're good. So just if you're not sure if you're in, you can type it again. It doesn't matter if you type it like 7 times in a row. It doesn't really matter. So just to be safe, you could type it again. I'll be right back. Okay. How are we doing? I don't think it's updating. There's only 23, but I know more than 23 of you typed this in here. 24? Maybe there has only been 24. So, and again, if you want to enter the raffle, !raffle, I'm only seeing 24, but I'm sure more than 24 of you have typed in here. So if you've already typed it, type it one more time. Maybe it's just taking a second to update. There we go, 25. There we go, 28. There we go, we're almost there. So one quick thing, I will need a replay code. So if you have a replay code you can enter, that's all I need from you. Am I in there? Should be. Yeah, you're in there. It's the anti-spam. I don't even have it enabled, so. Yeah, should be okay. 31. We're getting there. Let me actually skim through here and make sure that we're catching everybody here, because it would be a shame. Fish Enjoyer's in there. Hop Jack's in there. Hero of the Ages is in there. Neowo's in there. Cascada's in there. Duoni's in there. Scully the Boy's in there. We'll give it like one more minute. Oh, anti-spam is enabled. You got banned for 30 seconds? Ha! My bad. Most scuffed raffle ever. I think everybody I'm seeing is in here, so I think we're okay. We'll give it like one more minute or so. Just normal anti-Twitch spam, yeah. Gotcha. These are always fun. But like I said, all you really need is a replay code, and that's pretty much it. And it could be from It could be even quick play, you know. Prefer ranked, but it doesn't matter that much. But if you guys don't see your name in here, I'll scroll through all of these. But we should be good to go. No open queue, please. Oh, bless. So if you guys don't remember, bro, we did an open queue review, and it was like 5 tanks. Scrimmage is fine. Yeah, scrimmage is fine. Yep. Actually, you know what? It might not even be as bad anymore. Like open queue, now that they nerfed tanks, maybe it'll be like more balanced. But we did that one open queue pre-nerf, and it was like 4 tanks. Oh my days! It was an Orisa. It was like just shooting at endless hunks of flesh. One of the more interesting VOD reviews I've ever done. We'll go about 30 more seconds, y'all. So if you haven't already, !Raffle to enter in the free coaching drawing. All you need is a replay code and to type !Raffle, and you should be in. If you've already entered it, you should be good to go. It's definitely entered, so we should be good. Get ready for an open queue Doom review. Oh, please, no. Please have mercy. Please have mercy. I don't want to do open queue Doom. Please be nice. I don't know why Nightbot is going off the deep end. When the Poco hosted, Nightbot just was like, brah, like all at once, like spat every single 30-45 minute timer off all at once. I have no idea why. A mercy open queue then? Oh no. Oh no. All right, guys. So you guys ready? I'm gonna click it in 10 seconds. Is my hair bed hair? I wish. No, it got really floppy over. You know, okay, here's a question, chat. So technically I said 5:15 or 5:30. I don't want to start it too early. I'm debating, because last time I felt really bad. You guys remember last time I did the coaching drawing thing, and then somebody entered like 1 minute in, and I felt really bad because I was like, technically I did it early. Should we wait 5 minutes? But then what do we do for 5 minutes? What do we do for 5 minutes? Somebody give me a topic to talk about. But I can't just sit here for 5 minutes. Do some roast to highlights, talk about my skincare routine. Well, play speed chess. Don't wait. that's the Sigma male. That's the Sigma male mentality. Talk about how ball comp in general works. How about I just read suggestions and don't actually do anything? Do you think there's healing inflation in the game right now? Healing inflation? I'm not sure. Talk about the BTS Lego set. Oh yeah, so I got this for Christmas, and I got it off of eBay. Do you know how much this was? It's like 30 bucks. It's like 30 bucks. Check this out. I'm not like a huge Harry Potter fan, but I just like building Legos. Got this for 30 bucks for Christmas. Drop it? No. Discuss the state of Congress? No. Shows how to use your Discord for old videos. Oh yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested, I guess I could do that. That's easy enough. Yeah, so if any of you guys, I guess especially the Poco viewers are interested, I'm a coach. I'm an Overwatch League coach, ex-Overwatch League coach, doing private coaching. If you want coaching, !Coaching. But the big thing to know is this in my Discord, !Discord. I'm so tired of saying ! You go into the Spilo stuff category here. Check it out. Coaching VOD Compendium. And we have like literally every coaching thing that I've done like ever, pretty much, at least in the past like 6 months. So there is a lot of coaching sessions in here, and you can go in here and then you can search in the channel and just type whatever you want to do, and you'll find Orisa, Junkrat, Reaper, Sojourn, whatever. But if you do Kiriko, I will go insane because I've coached so much Kiriko. Okay, we've got about 3 more minutes. Want to see a highlight of me getting, because wall climb is broken? No, I really don't. I remember playing, I swear wall climb was weird back when Overwatch 2 first started. I don't know if it was just me. UK naming for an exclamation point also is bang. UK name for anything is usually something degenerate. It's like, why would you call it that? Talk about the worst player you ever gave coaching to. Spicy if name dropping. The worst player I ever gave coaching to. You mean worst attitude or worst player? Discuss the state of ranked. Ranked is rank. Attitude. all right, I won't name drop here. I don't even know if you guys would know who this person is anyway, but ages ago, I had a player who had never worked with a coach before, and they were so socially awkward and openly hostile, and not a very good combo, that they refused to talk to me. This was years and years and years ago. Years ago. But they actually refused to talk to me. Didn't even acknowledge my existence. I'm not joking. Was the strangest person I've ever coached ever. The instance where Sam fell off the map in Kings Row. Oh, jeez. Why pick Doom over Winston, for example? When is Doom a good pick? Doom's a good pick when CC is a little bit less of an issue. But Doom and Winston are generally good, or like there's more of an open map where it's harder to close the distance. Doomfist is a lot faster than Winston. Like he can close distances faster and more frequently. So more open maps, Doomfist probably feels a little bit better. That GM console guy a while back? No. What kind of game do I prefer to coach? What do you mean? What kind of, like, oh, what game mode? How come people want private coaching when they have so many examples already? That's a great question. So usually the people who want private coaching is because it's personalized, because the knowledge is out there, but providing exactly what you need is what I try and provide. I mean, that's why I mean, there's skills that like I do with like speed stuff and workout stuff and other things like I've gotten coaching for outside of Overwatch that I already know a lot about, but I get coaching for it anyway because I need somebody to tell me exactly what I need to work on. So anyway, okay, we're officially at 5:30 now. So exclamation mark Raffle if you haven't already. If you already have, you're already in here. But if you're new, you're coming in for the free Raffle review. This is your last chance to jump in there. Oh, as in like a loss or a win? Just a close game. He paid for coaching and ghosted you. No. This was so the person that was openly hostile and socially awkward was in a team that I was helping with many years ago. But that would be pretty funny if somebody paid for coaching and ghosted me. That would be very funny. I'm trying to think of like any weird. I haven't really had any super weird. I've had a couple of strange coaching sessions. Not strange just in people's personalities. I mean, I think everyone, but just some of the things were kind of strange, but all my coaching sessions so far have been pretty good. The guy that asked about what kind of game meant, like a win or a loss, and what kind. Oh, just a close game. Have I tried to do commentary matches? I did a little bit of that last time, like last year. It was okay. I get a little bit bored with it because I end up repeating myself with like the same stuff. Okay, 30 seconds, exclamation mark Raffle. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. I don't know why I'm clapping. 16, 15, 14. Conk comes right in, beating the bell. 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Roll! Hey! Shamail, are you here? And do you have a replay code? You want it? Do you have a replay code? All right, shoot. You can post it in chat or you can send it to me over Discord. Just let me know. Get RKO'd. No open queue today, please, please. Gambler, yeah. Did you make Spilo 2 because the Discord suggestion to upload VODs to YouTube? Yes. So yes, it's your fault. All the thousands of hours that I have to point. No, I'm just kidding. It actually doesn't take me that much more time. And it is like kind of I know a lot of people have found it helpful. So thank you for the suggestion. All right, I got to pull up Overwatch. Before we send in a Valorant game. You know what would be fun is to try and coach a Valorant game. That would be super funny. Somebody sends me in a Valorant like VOD because I don't have Valorant, so I don't know how I do. Does they even have a replay coaches? Anyway, but that would be funny. Total mayhem coaching win. Well, even worse would be Mystery Heroes. That would be funny. Spyro 2 is extremely useful. I've been watching it almost daily for the past week. Nice. I really think that the Spyro 2 is like technically all that was already available on the Twitch stream, but I know like Twitch UI and like handling is like horrendous. So like I was trying to make something easier. Doesn't have a VOD system. Fair. But maybe get like a POV recorded, you know? All right, getting Overwatch pulled up. All right, I'm ready for the replay whenever you got it for me. And I'm gonna gamble. You could post it in. You could just send it to my Discord. If you're in my Discord, just send it to me, or you could just post it in chat here. Okay, Spotlight 2 is amazing because my employer blocks Twitch but not YouTube. Disgusting. All right, so what rank, what hero are we looking at here today? How do I gamble? I haven't done the whole like channel point gambling thing really. I mean, maybe. Oh, is this Genji? No way, this is Genji. Chat, I think we have Genji, and I think this might be a GM VOD because I see Astro, Krondop, Emo. It's Genji. You got carried. GM won, but I was lost this game, I can't lie. All right. Do you want a normal tough love review or a roast review? You get to choose. No pressure. Either way. I get about 60-40 normal review, roast review. It's not, you're not allowed to decide. It's not up to you. It's not up to you. It's not up to you. What's the difference? You'll have to wait. Well, we'll see. No, I'm not letting chat vote. It's not your replay. No, yeah, you sit in chat and get roasted. No, there's no voice option. No. Not with the replay code reviews. It's up to you. But do you want me to just talk to you normally? Have a conversation about the mistakes that you're making? I can roast, but do you want me to roast? It's your review. I'm not gonna play patty cake with you. You let me know what you want. You listen, you rolled the die, you know what I'm saying? So you won out of 45 people, so it's clearly your opinion matters. I gotta update the VOD command while we're waiting here. I'm not a masochist, but the people want the roast, so we have to give a roast. Okay. Give the people what they want, I guess. Societal pressures. That's a society moment, ladies and gentlemen. GM, Genji. Okay, so chat. I thought you said chat wings for a second there. Okay, let's do this, mates. So, Grandmaster Genji. Let's talk a little bit about Genji. So Genji is probably one of the worst, if not the worst DPS in Overwatch 2 right now. They way over nerfed him with the ammo nerf, but he's still pretty decent, and this is definitely a pretty good map for Genji given the amount of high ground, and also the fact that Brig has come back has definitely helped Genji a little bit in a weird sort of way, because with more Brig, there's a little bit more flexibility with range support. You don't have to play brawl comps all the time. So he said it. What did I say? Anyway, long story short, you're going to be trying to control off angles, control high ground. Like I look at their composition, and basically all I want you to do is to try and really think about the positions that you're taking to pressure the enemy backline, because obviously you can assassinate Hanzo, you can assassinate Mercy, you can assassinate Zenyatta, but even if you don't get the assassination, if you can bait attention and pressure from off angles, like if, for example, if I'm threatening a dive on a Zenyatta Hanzo, and that means that they can't take good positions because they're scared to die to me, then that is indirectly providing value to my team. And so that's why Genji positioning is so important. It's not about using those positions to do damage. It's also that I'm on high ground, therefore you Hanzo, you Zenyatta, you Mercy even cannot come and take good high ground. So you're actually indirectly protecting your team. You kind of see what I'm saying? Control space. So let's do this. Cause I was a rammer, man. Where are we at? Are we attack or defense? I thought we were in defense. I'm so confused. Okay, so the big thing obviously is going to be putting pressure on the backline at good times. How's the echo, guys? Let me know if the echo is too bad. I don't want to wear headphones, but I will if it gets too bad. Okay, we're on the turret. Nice. Good pressure. Okay. Looking for healing, we're not getting it. It's okay, we're clearing space. Do you see how easy it was to get on top of that Torb? Okay, a little bit unfortunate we got our deflect forced out. We'd like to have our deflected duel, but unfortunate. Now we have our deflect back. Okay, so this is like a really important time right now. So here's what's important, okay? if you were to ask yourself right now, what is the enemy team focused on? This should be a really clear answer, right? The enemy team is focused on D.Va, Tracer, and so on. And that's the question that you have to be constantly asking yourself as Genji, where if you just go in, like, let's go back a few seconds. If you go in now, right? Obviously, their Zenyatta is a little bit distracted, so maybe it wouldn't be too bad. However, your D.Va is AFK, your Ana's AFK, your Briggs AFK, so if you went in now, every single member of the enemy team would focus you down. One of the biggest curses that you can have as a mobile hero is not paying attention to when and where and what your team is doing. So if I look right now, obviously your Ana's dead. That sucks. Maybe this fight is just lost because of that. But if I can see that the enemy team, if I can see and hear combat happening, that's my cue to go as a mobile hero. So as simple as that is, it's really important that you consider that. This is just dumb. Like, I don't really know how to put this nicely, so I'm glad that this is a roast review, but this is just stupid. Like, I don't get this. Like, why are we not pressuring the Hanzo here? You dash to him, you are directly on top of him, which is exactly how you would win the 1v1, and yet you're like, peace, and you just drop, and now we're shooting a ball? Why? And now the Hanzo's far away again, which is not what you want to do as Genji versus Hanzo. You get close to Hanzo, Hanzo sniper, you ninja. Very clear difference, right? And now he's far away. So not only is your deflect forced, but you also can't engage on him. I thought that this would be obvious, but maybe not. Okay, well, now, and then we get punched. Okay, so that was really bizarre, okay? But surely that's the exception, right? It's a one-time thing. Why are we going on Soldier? I thought this was a Genji review. You're like, what are you doing? This is applied to Echo as well. Yes, Echo is generally more of a hybrid, right? But if I'm playing versus a Hanzo, usually I want to try and close the distance on Hanzo. Because, what? Bro, what's going on? Do you swap back? Why are you? No, what is this? I thought this was Genji. Why are you doing this to me? I was so excited to look at some Genji. Soldier, Echo, back on Soldier. And then Ash? Bro, come on! All that time talking about Genji, and you've got one team fight to show to me. Bro, the hero wasn't even bad. They're playing to Zen and Mercy and stuff, and you died because you're... Oh my days. Like, what kind of a loser are you? And now you go, why would you go Soldier? What about the situation screams Soldier? Oh, they're on Zenyatta and Ball and Hanzo. Let's pick Soldier. What? Why? You said you played 4 heroes? Well, I must have missed that. Stop supporting him. He swapped off of Genji to say Soldier. I play Soldier. I don't care what he said. He's wrong. Wrong. You're wrong. Why would you pick Soldier? Okay, well, let's talk about Soldier and hope that we don't swap one fight for now. Soldier is very good at medium range, flanking off angle kind of a thing. Now, the weird thing for me is the reason why I don't like the Soldier is you're going to get out-sniped by Zenyatta and Hanzo, okay? Thank you for the gifted subs. I appreciate it. Para, Prado, Real Yeti, Perloa, and Dip Impact. You're going to have to hear me scream for the next few things, okay? Now, the thing with Soldier is flanking mobility, right? Big stuff, big juice, okay? Where are our flanks on this first fight? Where are you going to go? Huh? Where? Please tell me. I really don't know. What are you going to do? Peek down main? Snipe by Hanzo. Go out top right? Snipe by Hanzo. What are you going to do? Is there a rocket jump that I'm not aware of? Can you just rocket jump on the roof, sprint around behind? What are you going to do? Oh, that's right. We can heal station the ball engage. Right. That fixes everything. Like, look. How do you guys win this? Oh, well, there you go. Thank you for the sub, Matras 007. This is so lame. Like, ball also slams you, and then it's just like, I just don't like Soldier very much here. Unless there's like more space on the flanks for you to run around. Like, if you're not using your legs, you shouldn't be playing the hero. You know what I'm saying? This is lame. Oh, geez. Please tell me this is not what we do. Healing station simulator on every slam. And shooting ball. Oh, we're just not doing it. Okay, so like, here's what we do. So, here's why. Okay, I don't want to sit here and make grunting noises and yell at you, as fun as that may be, okay? When you sit inside of your backline as soldier, yes, the healing station is some sort of useful for the ball, but eventually the ball is going to be, you're not going to have healing station for the next slam. And the problem is do you see what you're doing right now? You're shooting a ball, but look at his HP. You've been doing nothing but shooting ball. He's not even used his adaptive shields, and he still has his armor. So he's just gonna keep doing that. Meanwhile, you're sitting inside of your own backline. You have legs. You need to control space. You need to control angles and flanks. Use your healing station, your rocket, your ability to run around to pick the best position on the map and play that position. Now, this is crack cocaine at a level of insanity, but you could literally flank here, 3, 2, 1 hide, and try and assassinate here. And again, what could they do? You've got legs. They can't punish you here. Probably not the best with Hanzo peeking here. Bro, I'm not even joking. I'm starting to wonder if like you should like run over here. I don't know. I'm having to think so hard because Soldier's so weird here. But you could literally like run here, wait for your diva to engage, or you hear, and then peek here. You could run into their backline. Like, you're Soldier. You don't do anything outside of run around. You have to play to the strengths of your hero. Thought Ana farm by ball and Tracer farm by turret. But then why would you go Soldier? What about the situation says Soldier? Soldier has mobility advantage, but you're not going to be able to use that at least until second point. Your sub had no notification, probably telling you something. Xeron, thank you for the sub, but apparently Twitch thinks you're worthless, so I guess I should too. Okay, so I really don't want us to sit here. This is how you get sniped by Hanzo. You're not using your mobility. You're going to get easy slams. Oh, huge eating the dragon. There's another slam. Like, your impact isn't even measurable in, like, inches. We're talking, like, millimeters. Just meaningless, teeny little bit of chip damage. No threat on their backline. No threat on their tank. Your hero's strength is mobility. You're not using that mobility whatsoever right now. And so I just don't see any way, shape, or form where this is going to work. What, like... you guys don't even need me to explain. You can feel it. Do you feel it right now? Do you guys feel it? Do you feel the lack of impact? Do you feel how we're just like kind of like observing as the fight slowly is lost? So my point is that when you're playing Soldier in that sort of a situation, I'm not necessarily trashing on Soldier as a hero, but if you're not actually finding a way to leverage that mobility, that's what's going to happen. Now, the only exception to that is what if they're on like Sombra Tracer? Well, then you do a lot more damage than they do. You just kind of need to play a little bit safer and survive. But that's not the case here. That's not the case here. So I don't know what's happening here. Something must happen. The enemy team must goof up, or your team pops off, or maybe you make a crazy play. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! Flank with a brig? Whoa! Okay, well, never mind. It's not flank anymore. Well, anyway. Let's see. I'm fixing to be surprised. Oh, gosh. I don't know how to feel. Like, it's... Oh. I have this sense of disappointment, but also, like, I told you so. It's like this, like, masochistic, like, see? I'm glad you're miserable. You deserve it. Oh. Run in visor, we matrix. Okay. Why are you matrixing behind a wall? Why are you here? Why? Even if you got Matrix here, you've plopped your healing station in your Matrix behind a wall! They're over here! Peek this, then prosecute! You're simultaneously feeding Again, not aggressive enough. You have done the impossible. You're not feeding enough, and yet you're feeding too much at the same time. No, I won't hear you out. Stop talking. Stop talking. You say this is GM1. You are lying. You are a liar. You don't deserve to speak. Oh my gosh. How are you playing this passive and yet feeding at the same time? I just don't understand. I get it, but like the whole point is that like you would want a visor from here, like in the angle, the flank with Matrix. If you're gonna do an aggressive play, do an aggressive play. Oh, why do I have to explain this? I feel like this is just so simple. You were trying to ride the ball slam? No way you're serious. You were trying to ride the ball slam on top of the stall. You were trying to bounce from the slam onto the stall? Oh my days. There's no way this guy's for real. No. Oh, no. Oh, man. Can't be serious. Okay, well, I mean, at least the Echo kind of makes sense because you can kind of dive with your Diva, I guess. I mean, you could dive the Hanzo. You can at least close the distance. It's kind of a similar logic as Genji, but you got a little more poke. But, yeah. All right, let's see what we got. So we're out. Our team is out. Play safe for right now, and then look for Wendo to go aggressive and close the distance on these guys. Ooh. So there's your Diva's in. So you need to be in. You are kind of in. Kind of weird stickies. I would be really careful about putting too much resource onto a ball, especially if you're not like he's really low, because that was your window to go for stickies on Hanzo. Now I get it, stickies on Hanzo are a lot harder to hit, but if they do hit, the guy's dead. Whereas this hero is just putting endless attention. What is going on? Putting endless attention on their ball. I don't think is the play. Because remember, also, who's going to kill you here? Is it Ball? No, it's Hanzo. So you need to be putting attention on him to make sure that you know when he's shooting and when he's not. Please stop looking at Ball. All right. Please stop looking at Ball. Where's that Kiriko? Oh, poor Hanzo. Okay, I'm sorry. This poor guy. Guys, I died of bomb. Oh, no. Crap, guys. My bad. No! Come on, man! This is cruel! It's not even, this is like a war crime, I'm sure of it. Like, Okay. Alright, bursts the turret, totally fine. Let's fly out of this. Nice, we're on, that's good, there you go. Nice. No, stop it. You know she's there. Stop it, you fool. Look at you. Look. She's right there. Don't look away from her. Kill her. Or look at her to make sure she doesn't doink you in the head. Like, again, remember, when you look away from something, you're more vulnerable to it. How many times have you guys died peeking a Widow? Probably a lot of times. How many times have you died to a Widow that you forgot was there or you weren't even thinking about? More often than not, right? So when you think about something, you put attention on avoiding it and you're aware of the threat. You know, you're turning your back on the biggest threat and you're looking at a ball with 6 trillion HP. 6 trillion HP. And the thing is you can also kill this target more too, right? It's not only who's more of a threat, it's also who you can actually threaten yourself, right? So stop looking at the tank, please. I beg. This target should be dead because you use squishies on, the stupid ball. Oh my gosh, especially in Overwatch 2, this is just really unforgivable. You're scared of Suzu duel? But you don't have an option, mate. You don't have an option, okay? Do you hear me? You don't have an option. Look at your mobility. Bang. Look. There's your shift. You're not going anywhere. You can't avoid the Kiriko, so you might as well face it. You're like this kid that's run out in the middle of the street. Oh, crap! I've messed up. Let's close my eyes. That's the best plan. No, you moron! You walk out in the street. At least look at the car so you can dodge it or something, right? Like, you can't possibly. You're stuck. You're done. So at least look at what you can. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing with the Hanzo thing earlier when you shifted up here, right? You're like, okay, this is pretty aggressive, and so then you sticky and beam the ball. Meanwhile, those Hanzo arrows are whizzing right past your head. Like, look at the Hanzo. Look at the Kiriko. Not just because you can kill them, but because there's what's gonna kill you. I think a Tracos, it really just depends on this, like who's playing more aggressively, right? Like right there, the Kiriko is the only one left alive, and she's very aggressive, so you need to deal with the Kiriko. I think it really depends. Generally, it's going to be, a lot of times, maybe where it might be DPS first is because sometimes you have DPS that are positioned more aggressively. But, you know, if you have a support play more aggressively, then it's the support, right? It's just a matter of aggression, right? So like right now, who do we go for? Cassidy? I thought this was Ana, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Cassidy or Tor? Well, obviously, Cassidy. But then, like, let's say that the roles are swapped here, and this is an Ana, and there's like a Cassie back here. Well, then all of a sudden, I'm going for the Ana. You know, it's not even a question for me. So okay. Okay, cover usage good. We need to try and break that turret if we can. Juicy. So I like this position. I like this use of high ground here. This is really good. I really want us to avoid times like this. So this is what we call no man's land. Okay, this is where you're transitioning from cover to cover. You do not want to be here for long. So like from right here, okay, you shift up. Okay, we're on the roof. Bingo. There's no reason for you not to be kind of slowly sliding down. And then here's a crazy thing. It would almost be safer for you to slide down here, sticky, and then drop underneath than it is to do what you're doing now. Even though it's technically further away, the problem is look at this from the Cassie's perspective, right? And he's kind of he's a little dense, okay? So he drops. But do you see this? If this Cassidy is even decent, you're dead. Whereas if you're here and you're actually using the wall, closing the distance, and then you know, drop the bombs and you just drop underneath. For them to pursue, they have to feed, but then you have a lot more cover, okay? So in general, your use of cover with Echo has not been very good. This is you're cooked. You're cooked. You're mostly Tracer guy, but I had Tracer OTP. Okay. So then my advice for you, which isn't even relevant to the gameplay right now, but my advice for you is to find out what is that second hero for you. Who is it gonna be? Echo, Genji, Soldier? I mean, you know, what's it gonna be? Pick one that you can enjoy and then roll with it. But this is tragic. Okay? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna die to a Torbjorn turret. Nice, okay. Pay very close attention. Maybe take Hygon here. Yeah. So, time out. Why are we shooting ball here? I'm not being passive aggressive here. Honest question. What do you guys think? What does chat think? Chat, why are we shooting ball here? Why? Think about it. Think about it for a second. We just talked about this. In fact, in this exact same position 2 seconds ago. About who to shoot. To get high ground control. You're thinking too hard. You're right, but you're thinking too hard. Because high ground control is really important for Echo. You're 100% right, but something even before that. Right, most aggressive player. I can tell something. My hive mind has joined me. Yes, yeah. It's the only. I mean, great. The only person to shoot. Exactly. So could we dive in here? Yes, but you'd be ending. This ball is playing hyper aggressive and in a location that somebody else said on the high ground that we need to actually engage. So then shoot the ball. GM Genji, I don't want to talk about it. It's too soon. Oh, yes. Too soon. But yeah, shoot the ball. And the thing is, you can get up in his giblets. You know what I'm saying? Get up close and light him up. And then when we get the opportunity to take the high ground to dive the backline, the squishies, the DPS, we can do it. Oh my days. Nice. Because my problem with our positioning here is that we're not staging very well for the backline. The reason why the high ground's important is because it's easier to kill this clown, to kill this clown, to kill this clown, and to kill this clown, because you can drop down, assassinate, dive bomb, and then shift back up again, right? But we're sitting here. Like, how are you supposed to dive bomb these guys without flying directly at them? You know what I'm saying? Like this is not a game you're good at with the hero that you're playing. Oh, stop sticking Krondop at full HP. I know you're down your Kiriko, but like the only way you win this fight is maybe if you see an opportunity to sticky a squishy. But yet here we are. Oh no, the fight's lost. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Go to cover, go to cover. No, 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 no. Now this one is tough. Well, you know what? The fight's lost. But yeah, this one is tough. Again, it's like who's Ball's playing hyper aggressive. Maybe it's okay to punish him now. No. And it's no surprise that also happens to be the time where you almost kill Ball. Okay, let's keep going. Do we get a touch? We do get a touch. We do. Go top, 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 go top. Oh, see, they've gotten smart. You see this? They've put the Cassidy here, okay? This is why angles matter. Now they're matching your angle. But see, the thing is the previous fight, or the fight before, that the high ground was open. The cast was just sitting. What am I doing? The cast was just sitting on the floor. You had the opportunity, you just didn't take it. And now it's a lot harder. Now I don't. I'm trying to think what would be the best play here. But clear the ball first is fine. Oh, you're gonna go for the aggressive play. I respect it. I respect it. Just, oh, why did you rush it? Why did you rush it? You should have relaxed. This is good though. Nice. You're probably gonna die here. Oh! Okay, but you see that, like how even though he landed the sticky, you almost killed him at like low HP. Okay, you feed here, but it's only, but I like the intention. I like the intention. I think maybe the only thing you could have done better is not give away your position from here. Remember when you stickied this? This was kind of silly. To sneak up here, to break the turret maybe, and then fly up here and do the whole dive bomb thing where you 100% guarantee get the kill. And it's also harder to stick him as well. So give that one a shot. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the intention. At least, like, we're at least trying to do echo things, right? Whereas the rest of this has been, okay, can we just appreciate, like, how this actually doesn't look like hot, fuming, like this doesn't look like poop anymore? Look at this. Look. Just watch. Look. It just looks normal now. Do you remember the horrific original Overwatch 2 screen? Who was what were they smoking when they released that? It literally looked like it looked significantly worse. Okay, so Echo, for me, it's gonna be mostly about, you know, playing your cover, put too much attention on tanks when squishies are equally aggressive, and then finding ways to close the distance versus heroes that outrange you. Okay, a little bit of everything, but just some tips to consider. And Overwatch 1 was a lot more aggro, but toning it back in Overwatch 2 has been so hard in these lobbies. I mean, I wouldn't even say toning back the aggression, right? At what point have you been actively feeding through aggressing too much? Not much. It's been how you've been aggressing, right? It's about the cover that you've been using, the targets that you've been shooting, your setups, right? I don't think it has anything to do with your playing too aggressively. I think it's just how you're playing. That's all. That's all. You know? Just play cover, focus the right targets, you know? It's a bit of a forehead thing, obviously, but I wouldn't overthink it as like, oh, I need to adjust to the Overwatch 2 aggressive, passive play style with, you know, the coordinate. No, just stop trolling the lobby, you know? Like, play to your hero's strengths, shoot the right target, stop shooting a ball at full HP, you know? You're not doing bad. Okay, you kind of are, but it's like, yeah. Okay, Soldier, you know, I mean, again, I don't understand the mobility thing here. Like, if you are going to pick Ashe later, I'd much rather prefer you pick Ashe here because you don't really, again, need the mobility here. Well, for me, it's like, okay, you can't play Tracer. then what hero do you want to practice? What hero do you enjoy? You know what I'm saying? Do you enjoy Sombra? Pick Sombra. If you don't enjoy Sombra, don't pick Sombra. Like, I wouldn't even mind if you pick Soldier here over Ashe because you just like playing Soldier better. For you, it's a skill issue, not a hero pick issue. It's a little bit of both, but mostly skill. Okay, reload please. Nice. Peek. I don't know why you leave this so... No, 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 no! 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 Like, I get the ball is a threat, so you're gonna need to respect that. But look at this freaking angle, dude. Look! You got Heal Station and Helix. You got the floor for cover. You have a Cassidy and a Mercy standing out in Narnia, a Torbjorn angle. Like, oh my days, this is so free. And what do? No, 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 no. You're sitting inside of your back line again. No, you had the angle there, man. You had the angle. You had it. Now, I get it. Again, ball is a problem, but if you listen for and anticipate his timing, you can maybe avoid it or like run to here. Like, worst case scenario, maybe play here where you can get healing. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, you had such a good angle. Like, this is where actually Soldier matters, because if you think about it, could an Ashe play this angle without a pocket? Not as easily. No, you can't run away as fast. You don't have a healing station, right? So this is like actually where the one situation on this first point where Soldier actually feels good, and you left it. And you left it. You know? Hold the angle. This is where you're good. This is great. This position, and then you go inside of your backline. So I guess for you, it's like, why are you here? What made you feel like this was the right play? Was this because I feel like I need to heal station my backline versus ball slam? Honest question. Is that what you were thinking? Because there's logic there, right? Because if we're coaching you, I want to understand why you're doing these things. Because the cover usage is just you being stupid, right? But this felt like a very purposeful decision. I was scared to hold main and get slammed. Okay, so you need to be able to. Here's the thing: if you are too scared to do things, then you're going to lose games by not providing value. This is where we talk about the pass. This is why I was so antagonistic to your whole like, oh, I need to play more passive. No, you don't necessarily. You just need to play good. Right? Right. If he hooks around the door, do you know how you make sure that he doesn't hook you around the door and boop you back? So I think what you're saying is like if he hooks like here and grapples, he's going to knock you in here. I think that's what you mean, right? So do you know how you prevent that from happening? How do you prevent that from happening? Chat, anybody, how does a Soldier 76 prevent a ball player from grappling there and booping him? Cover? Well, that wouldn't stop it exactly, would it? It might help. Now, Optimus 9, I promise you, actual GM play looks like this. You guys just aren't used to hearing coaching like this. Right. Expect it. If you are so focused on that being a possibility happening, then you shouldn't forget about it, right? Uses his ears in advance, yes. Run the other way. Run away this way. Juke it. Right. Right. It's not like we're talking about a hero that's going to one-shot you immediately, right? You're going to hear it. You're going to know it. You're going to not see him here anymore. You're not going to hear him shooting anymore. You're going to hear, right? And then you're going to run away. But you can't stop holding an angle because, oh, they might boot me there. When it's like saying, I never ever peek on main when they're running Widowmaker. Well, maybe she's in spawn, right? Do you know? Can you peek main until you realize or hear Widowmaker coming out of spawn? Like, you're actively throwing the lobby, because this is the problem with this mindset, is when your whole like, oh, I get value by living. Well, no, you don't, because right now you've given up this entire. You are now playing in a choke where, yes, your hero is okay, but their heroes are better. Your one advantage over Cassidy is the ability to be here, where he cannot, because he's too slow and fat and ugly. You are not. You're handsome and old. Okay? So when you give up this position, you are now entering into the Twilight Zone where their hero is just as good as you are doing this. Your ability to play to your hero's strengths is what's going to win fights. And that might take a little bit of guts and risk. And the way to deal with risk is not to avoid the risk entirely, but to look at it objectively and be like, how can I prevent that from happening? For example, if we go to this second point, my thought process is not I don't want to get stuck by Cassidy, so I don't ever dive the Cassidy. Well, if you don't ever dive the Cassidy, maybe you just get stuck here and you do nothing. So then the question isn't not how do I avoid Cassidy, but more how do I avoid and beat the Cassidy despite Sticky Grenade? Because if you can answer that question, you're good to go. The same thing with the Genji. The answer, like Genji's not a strong hero, but the answer to the question isn't necessarily to swap off of Genji, but how do I succeed with Genji despite that? So like right now, like this is the problem, is like you're not playing to your hero strengths. Here you are, but you wasted your heal station, right? You wasted your heal station, right? You plopped your heal station for who? For who? Who did you heal station here? Why did you heal station here? You know? And so then now when you actually go to try and do your job, because you've wasted your cooldown on Jack All, you have to run away. And I'm full HP now. Go push him. Go push him. Run, Rudolph. Heil. Run. Yes. Okay, go back to the angle. How about your Tracer? Yes. Yes. This is it right here. This is it. Now there's risk here, especially because you don't have your healing station, but this is it. This is it. This is it. Now, again, don't forget about Ball, because he can absolutely isolate you here. But if you're pretty sure that he's in your back line, this is it right here. This is brilliant. Look how much pressure. Don't leave. Oh, this is good. This is good. Yeah. This is good. Look at this. Why leave? Why leave? Why leave? Adjust your angle, right? Maybe you have to be unpredictable a little bit here. But why leave? Why did you run away? Peek back here again. Peek back here. Bang! Go back here. Bang! Run back here, you know? Team called for help. No offense, screw off to your team. Screw your team. And I mean that as respectfully as I possibly can, because here's the, oh man, I have this video actually in the works on my YouTube that I'm going to release in a couple days. It's called about like why Overwatch 2 nice guys finish last, okay? And it actually has nothing to do with being a nice guy, but it's what nice guys tend to do. Because here's what a nice guy does. Oh, my team needs help peeling off Ball. I'm going to go... right? And I'm going to go plop down my healing station and shoot the ball a little bit about that. But let me ask you a question. You don't have your healing station, and how well are you at dealing with Ball? Do you burst down and blow up Ball, like, let's say, a Reaper or a Sombra? No. We've already seen how you do versus Ball. It's not great. It's not the strength of your hero. So the best way that you can help your team, the best way to be a nice guy, is to do exactly what you're doing right now. Because what you're doing right now is preventing follow-up on the ball. Kron has been back here for like a decade, and he's not gotten a single kill because you're gatekeeping Kiriko and Cassidy and Torbjorn. And guess what? Your hero's really good at that. At least when you can move around this high ground like this. So when you jump back here, guess what you've just enabled? Ba-da-da-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Right? Nice peel versus the ball, dope. Respectfully. Right? And now we're stuck in the back line. See, you don't even have you don't even attempt, you don't even attempt to try and retake this angle again, right? Now that at least the ball's gone, right? You're not playing, the way to be a nice guy in Overwatch 2 is to play to your hero's strengths. Because the problem is, if you think you're a nice guy, my Reinhardt is calling for help. I'm Widowmaker. I'm gonna get out my SMG. I'm gonna Venomine the floor. No, no, no. The way to help, as was Widowmaker, is to take a good sideline and snipe. But look at you. Look at you. It's not about, oh, don't help your team. It's about when people try to help their team, they often go to the complete opposite direction that their hero should go. And now, do you see the Torb? Do you see the positions like that? Do you see their Torb turret now? You're stuck. You're stuck. And now you're also being harassed by Ball. Now their Cassidy is high ground. And you don't have an angle for Visor. And you're cooked. I wouldn't mind Visoring this either. Just to cause... Like, Visor is such a weird ult where like... Yes, use it. Okay, okay, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna give you some credit. I love it. Kron is on his crack. He was ready for you. The only reason you die here is because you accidentally land and Torb poopy. Okay. You actually would have 100% lived this if you did not run into Torb. Because look, but also look at what you did. You forced Ball back, you forced Kiriko back, and you easily survived with 120 HP until you jumped into the Torb. And that takes like 50 of your HP away. You actually jumped in it twice. You know what? I'll give you credit. This is good because do you see what you just did? You just ran a loop and they wasted all their time. Kron comes back here, he gets shot, and then you go right back up top again. Right? That's the problem with Overwatch 2 sometimes. You get punished for doing the right thing. You did the right thing there. That's the best little microcosm of Soldier gameplay we've seen yet. Look at them. They're swamping comp. The Soldier's too OP. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. No, 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 don't leave. Don't leave. Look, you just gave them a target to run on. Don't leave. Go top. Shoot him in the back. Be one of the flies buzzing at him and hitting him. Oh man. You're just, oh, you have no angle to fire. This is not, yeah, I mean, you just made it so easy for them. You just made it so easy for them. Get an off angle from your Zen. Yeah, but do you have any, like, I understand what you're thinking, but like, don't sit on the floor. Take the off angle here, or take the off angle with your Zen, or then here, and then if they try and push and clear you can literally run to first point and run all over the map. You just gave them something to run on top of. And then even if you wanted to off angle from your Zen, you would do it from like here, right? Here? Not this close. Oh, you're so close. That is just way too close. Yeah, too close. Too close. Okay. Do you have any questions? Because I think a lot of your issues come to just about playing the hero at its base fundamental, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of the hero, whether that's with Echo, whether that's with Soldier. I think the big thing for you is more important than anything else is going to be about finding what hero you want to pick up. Because it's fun for me just to punch it, but to be honest with you, it doesn't look like you're super comfortable playing any hero, and I think that's just you need to find out what that hero is going to be. What's your secondary hero? Because you're playing Soldier, Echo, Ashe, Genji. Just pick one. Pick one and roll with it, you know? You know, I think that'd make it so much more enjoyable for you if you just were able to find out like what that strength is. Okay. So those of you in chat that don't know, a lot of what I do is I do one-on-one coaching on stream, reviews like this, but most of my reviews are usually with people in voice and are usually not this charismatic, but you know, I'm usually fairly nice. Anyway, we do coaching, we talk about macro stuff, we talk about micro stuff, we do roast my highlight, we do map guides, we talk about patch notes, we talk about hero updates, we do ask Spilo, so if you guys have questions that you want answered, you can jump in my ! Discord, and you can throw them in the channel called Ask Spilo, and then basically what we do is we go over any questions that you may have more in detail than would be otherwise. Okay. And then also in addition to that, we do a lot of other stuff, but some stuff that I got a lot of feedback for in a previous feedback session where I asked basically my entire Discord and we had a lot of ideas. So yeah, anyway, long story short, yeah, hope you guys want to find that. More raffle. No, we just do the one raffle once. More raffle once a week. Yes, we do one every Thursday. So you guys can jump in stream every Thursday and we'll do a raffle. That being said, give me 1 second, mates. That being said, I wanted to finish a sentence first off. No, I wanted to finish off stream with this because I do have to go because I have another collab that's happening off stream. So I'm gonna toss a raid over to Grezin K. Let's get Grezin some followers. So we're gonna watch some ball play. Chat. Why are you saying mate? I've said mate for years. I don't know when it started, like 6-7 years ago. Chat, it's been good. Why would I pick Moira over Kiriko? Because you're an idiot. I mean, I don't really know. Individual survivability is technically a little bit higher. So !mark Discord for free coaching content, !mark coaching. That's pretty much it. Those are the big ones. Chat, loves and kisses. We're gonna toss a raid over to Grezin K. Hop in. Let's go. We're leaving out in 9, 8, come on, 7, 6, 5, 4, it's fast, 3, 2, 1,